The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone!
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
Well, I must have not been paying attention.
Is this real this time? Are we live?
Yes, we are.
We are live? Okay. All right. I wasn't ready, but
Do you
okay.
not see it? I asked you like
ready.
3 times.
I know, I lied.
3 times, guys. But
I lied. I'm out of Facebook jail.
Finally.
On election night. As predicted, by the way. Didn't I say that 2 weeks ago?
You said
I said,
always
you watch,
happens.
on election night, they're going to put me in Facebook jail again.
Did you look through my messages?
Hilarious. I posted a picture of Stephen Colbert doing a Nazi salute. And I wrote, hey, look at that. Look who turned out to actually be the Nazi. And somebody reported it, and Facebook put me in Facebook jail, originally for 3 months. They said 90 days, for promoting Nazism. How is that promoting Nazi? I'm calling him out. Okay, so then I appealed it, and they went, okay, we'll only give you 24 hours. But I still can't go live on my page, which is why we always go live on the Valley Patriot page and share it, right? And I can't post in groups, and I can't make phone calls through Facebook. So, like, Zuckerberg can say all he wants that we've changed all the fact-checking bullshit. They're full of shit. They haven't changed anything.
Of course they're not. It's political. They want to have control always of what happens and what people say.
We've got a great show for you guys today.
Oh, yes, we do.
If you want to learn about Lawrence politics, you came to the right place today.
Oh, I hear it.
Starring you and I.
Everyone. Ba, 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 ba.
That guy in the yellow car was not singing. I could tell.
You can tell, right?
Kristen Maxwell was out there singing. I heard her.
Really?
Yeah, I heard her.
Oh, Kristen.
I love her.
Gail Scott is with us watching.
Who is?
Gail Scott.
Oh, Gail. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you don't want to hear me sing, trust me. So DJ Beauregard has a fundraiser tonight. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I'm really going to try hard to get there, but I've not been feeling well lately. I even missed TMF last night, and I understand John Greenlaw violated the trespass order because I wasn't there to stop him.
Listen.
So I missed TMF last night because I wasn't feeling good, and John Greenlaw, who's been trespassed from the property, saw that I wasn't there and was walking around inside the bus station. So now he's got to get locked up for violating the trespass order. He's got brain damage. You can't help it.
Oh, he really does? Or
Yeah,
you just making that
no,
up?
no. I think he's like in a car accident. He's got like actual brain damage, so it's made him a complete asshole. So there are times when you talk to him and he almost seems rational, but then wait 5 seconds and he's not. And you're like, wait, is that the same guy he was just talking to? And it's not because he can't help it. He's nuts. So in a way, you can't blame him. Like, you can't hate him because it's not his fault. But on the other hand, you can't tolerate it either, right? You can't put up with the crap. So wait. There it is. See my invisible mug? Try pulling that
floating.
off.
I really hope Dave Consoli is listening right now.
Dave Consoli?
Yeah.
You called him Dave. You can't do that.
No? Why do I have to say it like that? That's how you say
David. His name is David, not Dave. He hates Dave. That's why I say Dave to remind myself not to say Dave.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I
always
say
say Dave Consoli.
Nope.
Well, I'm sorry.
DJ Beauregard, Mayor Methuen, has a fundraiser tonight. He didn't buy a sponsorship on the show, but I am going to give him this for free because his friend, his campaign manager is my friend, Lenita Dykes, who's also, by the way, running Manny Gonzalez's campaign. She's incredible. At 19 Heritage Lane. Now, I don't know where that is. They should always put where it is. Like, is 19 Heritage Lane, like, is that Man Orchards? We know it's not. I'm just giving you an example. But is that like Man Orchards? Is it Planet Fitness? Is it a private home? Like, what is that? People should always say what that is. That could be the Merrimack Valley Golf Course. I'm not sure.
What's the address again?
19 Heritage Lane, Methuen. So he's having it at 5 o'clock tonight at 19 Heritage
That's my
Lane,
number.
Methuen. Favorite number is 19?
Yeah, my birthday's on the 19th.
Oh, that's why. All right, very good.
Heritage Lane.
Heritage Lane. So I'm going to try to be there. I haven't been feeling well. I'm going to try to be there, and I feel bad.
Methuen, right?
Yeah, and I feel bad that I missed TMF last night. And of course, anytime I miss TMF, somebody always takes liberties. So I had a conversation with Mike this morning about having Greenlaw locked up and trespassed. He knows he's not allowed to be there, and again, it pains me to have to have someone trespass like a John Greenlaw because he has no friends, he has no social life, because he's got brain damage and he acts like a nut. But it's not his fault. Like, you can't be mad at him and you can't hate him because it's not his fault.
Oh, my God.
So I feel bad that we had to trespass him, but he was walking around TMF every week trying to find code violations and health violations to get TMF shut down.
I'm not talking about him, but aren't all criminals like crazy?
No. Some people
that commit like awful crimes.
No,
don't they all have issues?
I don't think so. I think we say that to make ourselves feel better, but I think most of them are not crazy. I think most of them choose to commit crimes because they've got no impulse control, because nobody's ever said no to them. Most of them grew up without a dad at home, and that's 100%.
Yeah.
You look at most people in jail, most of them had no dad at home, because that's the person who says no. That's the person who puts their foot down. It's not mom, it's dad.
Yep.
Anyways, let me thank our sponsors, and we have a really big show today. Who do we got? We got 4 Star Lighting. They're actually not even a paid sponsor, but I just love Joe and Kirsten and everybody over at 4 Star Lighting so much that I like to give them a free shout out. My buddy Paul Lambert, who is what? Who? What is that?
Keep going.
All right. Can they see that, or is that just me?
Nope, just you.
Okay. All right. Oh, very good. There's all kinds of production going on in the background here. My buddy Paul Lambert from Lambert and Randone Law Office. Quality Catering. Actually, their free ad ran out last month, but I love them so much. I'm going to give them another free one. W3ON Web Design. Doug Mercurio Law Office Prime Insurance. If you need insurance, he says he's never got any business from his advertising with us. Please, somebody, if you need insurance, call him so we can at least say he got one, so we can justify next year at this time getting him to redo his ads.
But does he ask everyone where they heard it from?
Well, yeah, he has a good way of tracking it.
Oh, okay.
And nobody's ever said that they've...
Or maybe they're afraid to say that they listen to it. So you never know. You never know.
Could be. It is really warm in here. Enterprise Bank is not Enterprise Bank anymore. Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. AFC Urgent Care. Clear Path for Veterans New England. A free shout out to JG's Ice Cream. We love those guys. Tomo and Shaken Seafood. EIS, Investigation and Gun Training, who we're going to sick on Sarah Perez. Marson and Son Construction. The Zany Pescherino, Zany Pesci Law Office in Methuen. And Century 21 McLennan Real Estate. I talked to Matt over the weekend. Finally, he took a break from all the concerts he goes to actually return my call and said that he will be coming on the show within the next couple of weeks. So
nice.
Looking forward to doing another real estate show with him. So let's get to a couple of things real quick. Let me pull up my list here so I don't forget anything. I kind of know what I want to talk about, but I want to make sure I don't lose anything. So before we get into anything really, really heavy, let's see. I don't know how I missed that. A couple things that broke over the last 24 hours that we weren't planning on talking about today. Fidelina Santiago, we've talked about her an awful lot. We broke the story. Interesting how we never got credit for it, though. We broke the story about her voter fraud, driving around the city stealing absentee ballots and mail-in ballots. She was sentenced to 6 months yesterday. She's going to do 6 months in jail. Kind of think it should have been a little bit more, and shame on the city council for allowing her to sit there and vote on mail-in ballots. However, after our last program where we went after the Lawrence City Council for allowing her to sit there and vote on mail-in ballots, I believe many councilors have had a change of heart. I believe that there's an emergency meeting tomorrow night of the Lawrence City Council where they're going to revisit the idea of having not absentee ballots, of mail-in ballots. Here's the difference. An absentee ballot is, I'm not physically able to get to the polls on election day. I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to be on a business trip. I can't get out of bed. I need you to mail me a ballot. Mail-in ballot means I don't have any reason. I just don't feel like going in to vote. I want to vote early. Mail me my ballot. I know who I want to vote for. That's where all your shenanigans happen. It happens a little bit with the absentees too. But that's where because when you have, as we saw in COVID during the Trump election, when you have mail-in ballots en masse going out, it increases the amount of possibility for fraud. And we know now that fraud happened in the last city council election, and there are now allegations that it has happened this year. And so I know that the Lawrence City Council is having an emergency meeting tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, and they're going to revisit the idea of having mail-in ballots for this year's election. And I say, I don't care who it helps, and I don't care who it hurts. stop the friggin' mail-in ballots. There should be no mail-in ballots. If you can't make it because you're elderly, if you're walking around with a cane like I am and you can't get to the polls, fine, send them an absentee ballot. If the person's going to be out of town on business, or they going to school or something else, fine. Otherwise, get your ass down to the polls and vote like everyone else. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It would have been nice if the city council, when this was actually going on and it mattered, had taken a stand and been the leaders and said, we're not going to allow this. But they didn't. At least, however, I say give credit where credit is due. They're at least now revisiting it. At least now they've realized that. I think there's been a lot of groundswell among the voters, and I think we've pushed it on this show enough that people are talking about it. And for whatever their reason is, self-serving or not, if they're willing to rectify it now and stop the mail-in ballots, I'm okay with that. In fact, I encourage that, and I will give them full credit. Even though they should have done it before, I'll give them full credit. You know, I get my hat on backwards. Yeah. All the women in my life say that they think that that's much more sexy, so I've been wearing it like this for the last few days.
I wish they would have done something sooner.
Yep.
And I think because also the position of Fidelina being, like you said, the fifth vote for everything against Brian.
How did they allow her to sit there for 2 years and vote?
Because her vote was decisive. That's what it was.
To go against
five.
Brian.
How many is it? 9?
Yep.
So they need 5. They always had 5-4. And everything against Brian, 5-4.
It's so infuriating because they could have been the leaders and said, even though it goes against us politically, we're not going to allow her. She can vote because we can't stop her from voting, but we're not going to let her put anything on the agenda. We're not going to recognize her to speak. And if she votes, she votes. But they could have at least taken a leadership role, and they totally took a pass. And by the way, I think, listen, I'm endorsing Giovanni, and I like Giovanni. I don't think he's been a great city council president. That doesn't take leadership. And I think if Mark LaPlante was the council president when that was going on, I think he probably would have put a stop to that. I didn't really like a lot of the things that Mark did when he was council president either, but I think he was much more fair. I don't think he put his finger to the wind and made his decisions that way. I like Giovanni. I hope he gets reelected, but I kind of hope he does not come back as council president. Okay. I think if it comes down to him versus Mark, both of them have their own deficiencies. Both of them have their own strengths. I think Mark was probably a little bit better. So
being a leader is hard. You got to make tough decisions. You got to get rid of people when you have to get rid of people, even though other people don't like it.
When Neil Perry got elected mayor with 70% of the vote the year that I ran his campaign the first time, it was like 71% that he won by or something like that. And I said, enjoy it now, because this is the most popular you're ever going to be, and this is the highest your approval rating is ever going to be tonight, because the minute you make one decision, you're going to piss off 1,000 people. And every time you make a decision after that, you're going to piss off another 1,000. And after a while, those people are all going to get together, as you see with Brian. All the people who hate Brian today were all on his team 4 years ago. But he made decisions, and every decision that you make as a leader, didn't give favors, didn't hire people. He hired people like Jalissa, then he had to fire her because she wasn't doing a good job. And then all of those people end up getting together, and they end up conspiring against you. And so it is hard to be a leader, especially as a council president, because you have 9 members that you have to make happy, and then you have to make everybody at home happy, right? And you have to make everybody in your neighborhood happy and everybody else happy. So I get it. It's not easy, and I'm not criticizing Giovanni. I think he's got a tough task. Yeah. I think Mark just did a little bit of a better job.
Well, Mark knows the charter front to back. He knows everything that's there. His rights and, how the meetings are supposed to run. Yep. So he often calls them out on the meetings, saying, we're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to let me finish or, do this and that. And there were times where they were like going back and forth. And Giovanni still made the decision, even against some of the things.
Yeah, and sometimes he's gone against Mark and I've agreed with him. I like Giovanni. I'm supporting Giovanni. I'm glad that he got, and we're going to go through all the numbers very shortly. I'm glad it looks like he's going to sail toward re-election. But that doesn't mean he's right about everything either. So it doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and tell you, Stephanie Infante said something. Somebody called me one day and said that there was a group of people, political people, and someone was bad-mouthing me and said, Tom Duggan's been bought by the mayor. Look at all the ads that the mayor buys. And Stephanie said, and I got this through 2 different people that were there, and she defended me. And I love that when someone defends me behind my back, because it's easy to do it in front of my face. And Stephanie said to them, Let me tell you something about Tom Duggan. Tom Duggan does whatever the F he wants. He is not owned by anybody. And if you think a couple $100 in ads is going to make him change his mind on anything, you need to meet the guy because that's not who he is. And that's 100% true. I'm getting a lot of crap by people who don't like Brian DePina, who are just too, and I hate to use the word retarded because everybody gets all worked up about it, but they're too flippin' retarded to understand what's really going on here. And I've got this woman, Sarah Perez, now that's been on me now for about 3 weeks. I didn't realize that she was a puppet for Debo until kind of all of this started to take shape. And let me say one more thing before we get into this one little thing here. I've been reporting on Debo and Kelly now for about 5 years. In the last 6 months, ever since I won my court case, every time I make any kind of reference to Debo or Kelly on my page, all of their friends come on my page, and when I say page on Facebook, come on my page with, why do you talk about them every day? It seems like you're obsessed. You must have a sexual fetish for Debo. Maybe you're really gay. All these like distraction issues. And I even hear it from some of my friends once in a while say, why don't you let it go? I don't want to mention we have an advertiser that recently said to me, why don't you let it go? Here's why I don't let it go. Here's why I continue to report on Kelly and Debo and their public shenanigans. On top of the fact that they were married, decided to not be married anymore, broke up, and did it live on Facebook. They like literally did a performance art of them breaking up on Facebook on a video call, where they're both live on Facebook yelling at each other about what was wrong with their marriage as if they're celebrities, like they're the Kardashians. Like the rest of us give a crap. And on one of them, Kelly used the N-word and called Debo the N-word. And I defended Debo because I don't care how much of a piece of crap some guy is. If you're a black guy and you get a white woman on Facebook live calling you the N-word, that's pretty friggin' despicable. I'm sorry, it is. But you know what it got me? Debo started coming after me harder. Debo started attacking me more. Even though I went out and said, this is kind of wrong because whether he likes me or he doesn't, it's still kind of wrong, right? So I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, but you know what's really funny? Debo yesterday went on Facebook and attacked me. I didn't see one person go, why don't you let it go? No. I didn't see that. Debo once a week goes up and he calls me dick-faced Duggan and all this other crap. Not one person goes, oh, you must have a sexual fetish. Why do you talk about him all the time? It's only when and this happens a lot, people will attack me and attack me and attack me. It's kind of like Israel and the Palestinians. I mean, this is the analogy that got me a restraining order, right?
Gaza.
But the analogy is completely true. Up until October 7th, the Palestinians would shoot rockets into Israel every day. And Israel would ignore it every day. And after a while, they'd go, you know what, we've had enough of their shit. They start lining their tanks on the border, and they would announce, all the civilians in Gaza, you better get out because we're coming. All of a sudden, that's when the Palestinians would go, oh, okay, we want a ceasefire. Can we talk? Can we make it nice?
No, the world goes crazy.
Right, and the world goes crazy.
Genocide.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Right. And this is what happens at the local level, too. People think that they can take shots at me. And the minute I start growling a little bit, all of a sudden it's, I'm a victim. He's picking on me. No, you're not a victim. You're a piece of shit. You're a scumbag. And I'm only coming after you because I've tolerated so much. Anybody who watches my page and watches their page knows I put up with a lot. I'm not even going to get into putting me in jail for a weekend on a false police report, bringing me up on criminal charges where I faced 2.5 years in prison for something that never happened, having to pay $50,000 for a lawyer, having to go to New Hampshire Supreme Court to get everything vacated and clear out my record, which I won. Like that, all the other stuff pales. There's that, right? What I just mentioned, and then there's like a mountain of other stuff that I don't even talk about, right? The stuff I don't even post about.
The emails that you receive.
The emails, the threats, the problems, the people driving by
people saying that you don't have a gun when you didn't have one.
Right. When they took my... So she filed a restraining order against me, and when they file a restraining order against you, they take your gun. Then she goes on Facebook and goes, he's a sexual predator and they took his gun. Her mother, by the way, Kelly's mother, Sharon Birchall, who's running for City Council in Methuen, went on Facebook and called me a sexual predator. And in all caps, they took his gun. He has no gun, hoping someone would physically come after me. So when I say things about Sharon Birchall that are unflattering during an election because she's running for office, watch the people that come on my page and go, oh, you're not being fair as a journalist. Well, as a journalist, I'm giving you the full picture. Just because it happens to involve me doesn't mean it's not true. Doesn't mean I'm putting my finger on the scale. Sharon Birchall is part of the crime family that is the Birchall, Debo, Brown, Frazier / family. It's what it is. It's who she is. It's who they are. And she bears just as much responsibility for all of what was going on that Kelly does and Debo does. So, having said all of that, I go on Facebook 3 nights ago. I don't remember whether it was 2 or 3. And on Jalissa's page, she posts something from a woman named Sarah Perez. Now, Sarah Perez claims that she doesn't know who I am, but I've worked on a number of campaigns with Sarah. I believe she worked on Marcos's campaign when he ran for city council back in, I'm going to say 2009 maybe. Okay. I know that we've worked on a number of other campaigns over the years. I've always liked her. We've never had any problem. Like, I haven't really known her that. I don't know her well enough to vouch for her character. But I do know her well enough to say that, like, when I'm sitting around with Brian DePena supporters who call her a mental case, I've on multiple occasions said, you know, I kind of know her, not well, but I've worked on some campaigns with her. She always seemed nice. I've always defended her because I've never seen her act like a mental case. Until 3 nights ago, or 2 nights ago, when I go on Jalissa's page and she posts something from Brian DePena's campaign finance report where he donated two $1,000 donations to the Valley Patriot that both went to scholarships for J. Ronnie Farron, the junior ROTC Lawrence High School senior, who's going into the military.
This is the misinformation that I'm talking about. Pisses me off.
So she doesn't say that, right? She posts the two $1,000 donations and says, see, these are the people that are bought by Brian DePena. They're covering up his corruption. That makes them no better than he is because they're just as corrupt as him because he's paying them to keep quiet and cover it up, right? Okay. Tom Duggan didn't get a friggin' dime of that money. All that money went to scholarships and other stuff.
But even if you did get that money for your
Still
program,
doesn't mean I've been bought.
You have a show, you have a platform, you have a business, you have a paper. How does a paper survive without sponsorship?
Right, without ads, sponsorships. But if you think that buying ads means, if you want to tell people that someone who buys ads in my paper means they're going to get positive press, you haven't read my paper. Like, you haven't read my paper. Like, and on any given week, you pick up my paper and you read what I said about DJ Beauregard, and on the next page there's a DJ Beauregard ad, and then you flip back and you go, wait, but he's eviscerating DJ on this page, and the next page there's an ad. So anybody who reads my paper knows that that's crap. However, the problem is that the uneducated morons that follow Julissa Nunez
and Sarah
Perez don't read my paper. They don't read it. So because they don't read it, it's easy to say, oh, well, he's been bought, because they don't bother to pick the paper up to see for themselves. They're not smart enough. So I went on Facebook and I shared what she posted and basically laughed at her and said, no, not yet. And I laughed at her and I said, basically, yeah, I'm in bed with Brian DePena. That's why Manny's been on my podcast twice and Brian's been on 0 times. Right? Because she's trying to portray that we've been bought by Brian. Well, if that's the case, why has Manny been here twice and Brian's been here 0?
And why do you share some of his things on Facebook?
Right, I share all of Manny's stuff. Manny's a friend. I've known Manny for years. I really have no dog in this fight, at least not yet. I'll tell you what, the Manny people are pushing me. I'm just telling you right now, the Manny people are pushing me. They're pushing me in the other direction. So far, I've resisted. Anyways, so after I saw all this, I thought about it, and it kind of bothered me, and I said, let me try to reason with her. Let me try to remind her that I've not been her enemy. So you can pull up what I sent her this as a text message, and we're going to get to like the real good stuff in a minute. So I said, I've always been nice to you. I've never once attacked your character. In fact, I've defended you among many Brian supporters. I have never been your enemy, but that's about to change. I was letting her know that I'm not going to be defending you anymore when people are in a room calling you a mental case. Does that sound like a threat to you?
Not at all.
She pulled a Kelly Birchall.
Not at all.
Pull up the next one. She goes to the police department and she files a police report. Right? Not only does she file a police report saying that, oh, I said I'm not going to be nice to her anymore. Somehow she's now in fear of her life. Another baby Cakes Kelly Frazier, right? But by the way, look who posted it.
Debo Brown.
Right.
Who has access to a police report that fast?
Isn't that interesting?
Is it a copy? Maybe it's her copy, right?
Maybe. All I know is
he probably gave her that he probably told her what
there
to
you
do.
go. You can pull that down. There you go, right there. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Debo was behind the whole thing.
Yeah.
Debo gave her the information. She posted it. Then when I came after her a little bit, and I just growled a little bit and said, I'm not going to be nice to you anymore, she ran to Debo, like, can you believe what he said? And he went, you go file a police report. And then I'll post it online and make it look like he's a really bad person. Yeah, well, you know what? Debo Brown just got arrested on last Friday night, and he's now being charged with beating up baby Cakes.
Wow.
That's correct. He got arrested on Friday night. I posted it.
Has he always been violent with her?
Yes. Well, no, here's the thing. And I really hate I hate you for even asking this question because now I have to answer it. I have seen her hit him on multiple occasions, and I've seen him walk away. That's 100% true. I have no reason to defend this scumbag. He's a piece of crap, and it hates me to even have to say it. Of the two, if I had to believe one of them, I'd believe him. But it's a really close call. But I've seen her put her hands on him, and and it's been more than once, every single time he's walked away. So he's still being charged. It's his word versus her word. And between you and I and, my audience, you won't tell anybody, I'm sure. I kind of believe him, but we have to wait to see the evidence. He's been arrested. He's been charged. Now, he's been arrested, and then he did a video after I posted he got arrested. He did a video while he was in bed with his new Kelly, the new Baby Cakes, Baby Cakes 2. He did a video where he said everything Tom Duggan said is a lie. No, the only thing that I got wrong is I forgot that New Hampshire law is different than Mass law. In Mass law, if they had arrested him for hitting his wife, they would have considered it domestic violence, and he would get no bail. In New Hampshire, it's a little different. So they did bail him, but that doesn't mean he wasn't arrested. That doesn't mean the rest of the story is wrong. I messed up on the New Hampshire versus Mass law. I take full responsibility for it. But that doesn't mean he didn't get arrested because he did. Monday morning, he was in front of a judge in Salem District Court, and he pled not guilty, and they're going to go to trial. We're all going. I'm going to get a whole bunch of people. We're all going to go. We're going to get our popcorn, and we're going to cover it.
Can we get main shirts with, Valley Patriot on it? And, your face in the back?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Well, I want to, before we move forward, June Fisher's watching us, Jose Toribio, and Pauline Prevet. I don't know who that is. It looks like a fake account, I think. I'm sorry. Maybe it's not. But welcome in, everyone. Please share, let us know you're
One
listening.
real quick thing before we get to election coverage. So another thing that happened this week, it's been a very busy week. Last week, the Valley Patriot, I personally posted on Facebook that Joel Faretra, Methuen City Councilor for Central District, had moved out of his district and didn't tell anybody. Now, the laws are different. In Lawrence, I remember when Nilka Alvarez was the District C City Councilor, she moved out of her district. The Lawrence City Charter says that you can fill out your term. If you move out of your district after you take office, you can move out. You can fill out your term. You can finish your term, but then you can't run for re-election in that district or in the city if you move out of the city. Methuen's different. Methuen's charter says you have to notify the voters and resign before you move out of the city. So you can't move and then take your time and continue voting on things that are not going to affect you because you don't live in Methuen anymore. You have to do it right away. So we found out, we got the mortgage agreement from a real estate friend of ours who said, you're not going to believe this, but I think that city council guy moved out of Methuen. He didn't tell anybody. So they sent me the mortgage agreement, and I posted a story saying that Joel Faretra moved out of Methuen. Here's how this always works. For those of you who don't like me, take notes. This applies to you. I post a story that he moved out of the city, and all of his friends come on my page and call me liar. They go on the Valley Patriot page, call me a liar. They go on my page and call me a liar. Okay. I didn't want to embarrass the guy. I didn't want to humiliate the guy. I just wanted to report a story. But if you're going to call my credibility into question, here's the mortgage agreement. So I post it. I get these what I call NICK DIZOGLIO type excuses where, well, how do you know it's not his vacation home? Every excuse they can to try and make it seem like it's not what it really is.
Politics.
So one guy comes on, his name is Bob DeFusco, I think, comes on the Valley Patriot page. And I didn't. One of the other interns saw it and commented that We've you should see your expression. I have two other interns. You know I have two other interns.
Who? The editors?
Intern boy.
The editors?
Intern boy.
We never met with him, by the way.
He sat in front of us at the bash.
I know, but we... Oh, okay.
With his mom. His mom's my nephrologist. Yeah, his mom.
Okay, and who else?
And we'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
I'm
jealous.
I just brought in somebody.
I'm jealous.
It's not a female. You don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
So somebody else posted with this Bob DeFusco guy that, hey, look, we know what we're doing. If we posted this, we know what we're talking about. And they started with, where's the proof? We need more proof. All you did was post a mortgage agreement. People, if you hate me, please pay attention. If we post it, just because we don't post the proof doesn't mean we don't have the proof. In this particular instance, I don't hate Joel Faretra. I'm not trying to hurt Joel Faretra, but it's my job to write the story. So I wrote the story, and I didn't include all the proof we had because it would monumentally embarrass and humiliate him and his family. So when they first started poking at me, I posted the mortgage agreement, which if you go down to page 8 of the mortgage agreement, it says this is to be his primary residence. This is not investment property. He has to move in, right? He's denying it. His friends are denying it. Then they come on and they go, well, it's just a mortgage agreement. How do we know? Okay, now I have to prove. Now you have forced my hand to post more proof. I have a letter from his mother-in-law saying, I live at the address he's claiming is his. He doesn't live here anymore. Basically, he's lying, saying he lives at this address and he's not living here.
She also mentions where he lives now, right?
She gives the address in Manchester, New Hampshire.
That's his mother-in-law?
Mother-in-law, right? So, but this is why I didn't want to post it. I don't want to cause this guy trouble with his family.
Yeah, that's a family matter.
I know she wrote the letter to the counselors. One of the counselors leaked it to me. I had it. I didn't use it. I didn't post it right away. If I didn't like the guy, I could have posted it all over social media. I was trying not to do that. But because he had his friends trying to make it look like I was lying, rather than just doing the right thing. This is the thing. If you're involved in something and someone like me starts calling you out, and it's true, denying it never ends up well for you. Because I never ever give all of the proof that I have when I first started posting a story. I oftentimes don't have to post the proof. Most of the time I post it, the person I'm posting about realizes what's coming, and they step aside. Those are the smart people. The dumb people have their friends come on my page and deny it. So now Joel's friends come on my page and deny it. Joel's supporters come on my page and deny it. I have to post the mortgage agreement. They continue to deny it. Now I've got to post the letter from his mother-in-law, which I did not want to do. They forced me to do it. Then they come on and they continue to... Two people continue to deny it.
Are you serious?
Totally. So I went to the IT department in Methuen and I got a printout. He was submitting agenda items for the Methuen City Council from an IP address in Manchester, effing New Hampshire.
This is how deep you went.
While he was on the city council. Listen, I'm an investigative reporter. Don't you people understand this? Don't you people get I'm an investigative reporter? And again, just because I don't post all the proof that I have every time I post something doesn't mean I'm shooting from the hip. It doesn't mean I don't have it. And to demand that, like, every time I post something, you need to show us more proof. Well, that's never going to end well for you because I always have it. I always have the... what's the phrase you use? I always have the receipts?
Yeah, the receipts.
I always have the receipts. I don't post it.
I'm sure you didn't want to post the mother-in-law situation. Listen, that's a family thing.
I tried
That's above the actual
I tried
thing you're
really
reporting.
hard not to post that. And people kept pushing and pushing. And at one point I went, you know what? Everybody knows that I have credibility. I don't have to prove it to this guy. And then 5 more people started DMing me going, why are you going after Joel? This is personal. You're just mad because he said mean things about Joe Solomon. And that's when I went, okay, you want to make it like it's personal? You want to make it like it's about me? Let me prove to you how not about me this was. I was trying not to post this, and then I had to post a lot of it.
You need to get, like, cocky. You know that word, cocky?
Yeah, but I try not to be because that's my reputation.
I know, but
people
listen.
say that I'm a cocky, arrogant bastard, so I try not to be that.
No, you have to be that way. You can't respond to everyone, and not everyone should have access to you because they take things personal. They want to deflect off of you. It's not fair to you. You're reporting. It is your job to do this. It is your job. We need to respect that. So when people reach out, don't even respond to them. Fuck them.
It's just that they all follow the same pattern. It's kind of like I hate embarrassing anybody. It's kind of like when way back in like 2009 when Ralph Carrera was running for mayor of Lawrence,
He ran in 2009?
He ran for mayor twice.
Really?
He ran for mayor, and he was going around talking about how he was an educator, and he was on the school committee, and he cared about children. And the most important thing for children was to have families at home, and we needed to help, foster families at home, while he was cheating on his wife with Barbara Gonzalez and fathered a child with Barbara Gonzalez. She just fell off the floor.
Tom.
I'm just telling you.
I know everyone knows that story, but damn.
Right.
What an example.
Well, if you Google it, it's all still up because we wrote about it in the Valley Patriot.
Yeah,
And I didn't want to write about it because I don't believe people's personal lives should ever be written about in politics. However, if you're the guy out there and you're running around and you're telling people that family is the most important thing and you're trotting your family out as the example while that's going on, so we reported on it. But we reported on it this big, like in the notebook item, hoping that it would just kind of go away and he'd stop the nonsense. Instead, he called me a liar. So now I've got to go and I've got to get the paternity test, which we did. We got a copy of the paternity test. Someone was nice enough at the company that did the test. They saw what we posted online and they came to us and said, here. So then we had to post it because now he's calling us a liar. So this has happened with Willie Lantigua. It has happened with a number of other elected officials. It happened with Steve Saber. It happened with Jim McCarty. It happened with a whole bunch of people in Methuen and Lawrence and North Andover. Chris Nobili, who was a North Andover selectman, who not only was a North Andover selectman here, but he was a selectman in Algonquin, Maine at the same time because he moved out of North Andover.
Oh, my God.
And when I posted the story on Facebook, he denied it. So now I had to call the town of Algonquin, Maine, get a copy of the ballot that he was on while he was a selectman here. And he was a selectman on both. No, I didn't want to do that.
Do these people really think they can get away with these things?
Well, here's the thing. They run around telling people that Duggan's got no credibility. And after a while, they start to believe it. So then when I say something about them, they think, well, I'll just tell everybody he's lying because he has no credibility because they're believing their own rhetoric. Not understanding that I don't care what you say about me. If I say it, it's because I can prove it. And so I didn't want to shame him on the front page of the Valley Patriot with a picture of the ballot in North Andover and Algonquin, Maine, but I had no choice. Because now you're questioning the credibility of the Valley Patriot as a business, and that's something I'm never going to tolerate unless we actually did do something wrong. And on those few occasions where I did something wrong, I'm happy to say we were wrong. I'm the first one to say it. I'm the first one to correct the record, right? So anyways, that's that as far as so anyways.
I was not expecting that turn right there. It was
Joel Faretra then finally goes before the council, continues to deny he moved out of town, says he wanted to resign as of October 1st. The council, I had no idea they could do this. The Methuen Council voted to throw him off the council. I didn't even know you could do that. I mean, I live and breathe this stuff, and I had no idea that the council could do it. But Jana Zani Pesci, God bless her, the sexiest woman alive, got up at the meeting. She's a brilliant lawyer, too, by the way. Got up at the meeting and asked the city solicitor, do we have the authority to throw him off the council? And I expected the city solicitor to say, of course not. He's a duly elected official. And instead he went, oh, yeah, you could do that.
Wow.
NICK DIZOGLIO sat there.
Is that on the charter? Or?
Yeah. So NICK DIZOGLIO sat there and defended him and gave all the same excuses of the people on my page. Well, there could have been his vacation home. This is a witch hunt. You never want to be in a foxhole with that guy. He's always with you when it doesn't matter. But when it's Judy Scannell or Steve Saber or Joel Faretra, whenever it really matters, when the ball's on the 2-yard line, he always stands with the insiders.
Really?
So
Is that like a political move, maybe? Strategy?
Well, he lick your finger, hold it to the wind, and see where everybody's going, because that's where you want to be on election time, right? So he voted with Judy Scannell, I'm going to remind you again. Steve Saber, Jim McCarty, just tell you again. And then when it came time for Joel Faretra to say, this is wrong, I like Joel, he's a good guy, but this is wrong, he shouldn't be here. He moved out of the city. We believe he moved out of the city. Instead, he called it a witch hunt. He attacked his fellow councilors. And then when they took the vote to throw him off the council, rather than stand for his beliefs, NICK DIZOGLIO got up and walked off the table. So it wouldn't be on the record during an election that he stood with the guy that moved out of Methuen. That's a coward. I'm sorry. That's a coward. It's a cowardly thing to do. And by the way, ask NICK DIZOGLIO if he regrets his vote on Judy Scannell to give her a platinum parachute after she was not certified to be superintendent for 10 years and not certified to be a principal for the 10 years previous that she was a principal. Ask him if he regrets that vote. He still defends it. Publicly and privately, he still defends it.
Will never admit that he's wrong.
So here's a guy
just like some people in Lawrence who don't admit they lose, too.
Never admit when they lose. So, he's a good guy, and he's good to have when it doesn't matter, right? When the vote's going to go 7-1, he's with you. But when the vote's 4-4 or 5-5, or however the math works, when it really counts, he's either standing with the insiders or he's out the door. And so they threw Joel off the council. I didn't know that they could do that. I'm kind of shocked that they did it. You know who took the leadership role? Ron Marsan and Jana Zani-Pesci. They're the ones that took the leadership role. They're the ones that dug into this. They're the ones that got the information. They're the ones that stood their ground and said, we like Joel. He's a friend. We've been working with him forever, but you can't do this. Yeah. And I'm sure it wasn't easy for them because they're both on the ballot. Joel has friends. Joel has supporters in the community. I'm sure none of them are going to vote for Ron Marsan or Jana Zani-Pesci now. But they put aside the politics. They did what was right. Yeah. And so I admire that. I admire both of them and all the other councilors who did the right thing. But shame on Nick and shame on the people that came to my page and forced me to humiliate this guy. And by the way, I gave you 4 things that we had on this situation. I had 9 more. Like if they had continued to deny it, I had 9 more things. Like there were people who actually had nothing really to do with me. I might have inspired it, but I didn't do it. There were people that followed the guy when he left work and then drove to Manchester, New Hampshire to go home at the end of the night.
Jesus.
And there are pictures, I understand, of that. So whenever you deny Tom Duggan's report, you have to understand that there is an iceberg underneath the ocean that is a lot bigger than what you are seeing. Anyways, we've wasted way too much time.
Yes.
Let's talk about the election. So we had elections in Methuen. You had Ella McLaren came in first, and that's no surprise to anybody that follows this. She was recruited by the Democrats. The Democrat Party wants Ella McLaren to be the District C City Councilor. They are making her a member of their farm team to run for
Central, right?
Central District. What did I say?
You said District C.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Central District in Methuen. So, I talk too fast and my lips get ahead of my brain. I'll try and slow down. In the Central District, she was recruited by the Democrats. They want her on the farm team to run for state rep or state senate in the future. I suspected this when I heard that Sharon Pollard recruited her, and it was solidified when I went on Facebook yesterday and saw Phil of the Future, Phil DiCollegiero, congratulating her on her win. So once I saw those two, I went, you know what? This is a Democrat thing.
Does she fill all the boxes? Like, is she
wants
giving
more school funding?
Illegal immigrants.
I'm positive that she does.
LGBTQ at the schools.
When the Methuen Teachers Union endorsed her, that told me all I really needed to know.
God.
However, having said that, that doesn't mean she's going to be a bad city councilor.
No, not at all. It doesn't take away from it, but her ideologies are that.
And I think she will probably be a good city councilor from the Central District. Okay. I would not be unhappy at all if she won.
Is she good looking?
She's very well. 19-year-old redhead. Are you kidding me?
Oh, she's 19. Oh my God! Yeah, forget it.
Why do you think I haven't met? Why do you think I haven't met with her yet? I'm petrified of being in the same room with her.
Take me with you.
Yes, I'll take you and go with me.
I'm too afraid.
Yes.
You should be.
Oh my God. Can you imagine what people would say if they saw us out together? Look at what people say about you and I when they see us out together, right?
I don't care.
The other person who came in, the person who came in second was my candidate, Yanilda Santos.
Yanilda Santos.
I think she's going to be here next week.
Okay, nice.
And she worked really hard, and I debated on supporting her because I didn't really know her, but Wanda Santos called me and said, I know you're looking for a second candidate because Sharon Birchall's in that race. And the number one goal is to stop Sharon Birchall because that's Baby Cakes Kelly's mommy. Yeah. She's only running for city council because Baby Cakes needs a job.
I believe that is my district too, Central.
Yeah, it is because you live right by the loop.
Yeah.
Right? So my goal is to stop Sharon Birchall because she's only running to get Baby Cakes a job. Baby Cakes needs a job. And so I had already endorsed Luann Santos. I was thinking of endorsing Ella. I reached out to her. We tried to schedule a time to meet, but it just kind of didn't work. And in the meantime, Wanda said, can you give Yunilda a shot? Will you talk to her? So I talked to her. I was very impressed. Like, not knowing who she was, never having heard her name.
Or hear anything about her.
Knew nothing about her at all. Did not know what I was going to get. And I was within 5 minutes of talking to her, I was so impressed that I was like, you know what? I don't need to hear from anybody else. This is who I'm going to support. So she came in second. In third place, however,
dun, dun, dun.
was Baby Cake's mommy. Right? In third place was Baby Cake's mommy. And I was told that she was handing in absentee ballot and mail-in ballot applications for the 2 weeks before the election. So that shouldn't have surprised me, but it kind of did. I kind of thought that the people of Methuen were a little smarter than that. Kind of thought that. Turns out I was a little wrong. So she's in third place. And my other candidate, Luann Santos, came in fourth place. Steve Gillis and Derek Jones got knocked out. So your top four go on to the final election. You've got Ellen McLaren in first place, Yunilda Santos in second place. If it stays that way, I'm happy. However, in the final election, in the primary election, you have what's called super voters. If someone votes in a primary, they usually vote in every election, special elections, final elections, mayoral elections, presidential elections. But in the final elections, you have a lot of people that come out that don't usually vote in elections. There's maybe 5 or 10% of the actual vote in a final election, especially at the municipal level, that have either never voted before or generally don't vote. That's called the dummy vote. Those are people that are voting based on, well, this person's in my neighborhood, I'll vote for them. Oh, that name looks familiar, I'll vote for that person.
Somebody was bashing them on Facebook, so let me vote for the other person.
Right. So those are the people that aren't voting based on issues and aren't voting based on they know the person. They're voting for some external thing, right? It's why before I knew Stephanie Infante, she was running for Vogue School Committee, and the night before, I had 2 candidates. I needed 3, so I said, look how beautiful this girl is. If I have to sit through 5-hour meetings, at least give me something good to look at. Please vote for her. So she got mad at me. At the time, Stephanie got mad at me, and she posted all kinds of things about, don't vote for me because of my looks, like the typical, I am woman, hear me roar bullshit. But
deep down, she liked that, though.
Well, but she came to realize afterwards, because she didn't know politics, she came to realize afterwards that there really is what's called a 5 to 7% dummy vote, where people who don't have a candidate who are going to vote for mayor, but they don't care who they vote for like Vogue School Committee, will throw you a vote because someone said, hey, vote for this guy or this woman. So she has come to realize that, like, that's part of the reason she got elected was people who saw her on my page and saw me saying how beautiful she was, and whether it's because she was beautiful or because I said so, they went out and they voted for her anyways. So my worry is this, and we're going to talk about numbers. I worry that Luann and Yunilda, both having the same last name of Santos, is going to be confusing for the dummy voters, the 5 to 7% of the people who don't know the candidates and don't know the issues but vote because they're voting for mayor or they're voting for somebody else. And my worry is that if Yunilda and Luann split that dummy vote, Sharon Birchall walks in. And that's a real possibility. And if you think you've had problems on your city council in the last 5 to 10 years, let me tell you, you do not know problems until this woman gets on the city council. And trust me when I tell you, and you won't, because you never do. And then when it's all over, as you're going to find out when we start looking at numbers in a few minutes, when it's all over, you're going to come back and go, yeah, I wish we had listened. Yeah, it's too late now. It's too late now. So I was hoping that Luann would drop out and endorse Yunilda and stand together with her and stop Sharon Birchall from getting in. At least as of this morning, she's still in the race. Okay. She's staying in the race. And she's my friend, so I have to stand with her because I promised that I would, and my word is my bond. But I really wish, and I say this with all the love in the world, I really wish for the sake of the city that she would step aside and endorse Yunilda to stop Sharon Birchall from getting on that council. And if you think I'm happy about a left-wing Democrat, Ella McLaren, who was recruited by Sharon Pollard, of all people, and supported by Phil DeCollegiero, more of all people, if you think I'm happy about that, I'm not, but I'm okay with it because I know they wouldn't recruit someone who couldn't do the job, and they wouldn't recruit somebody who was a criminal. And so I would much rather have Ellen McLaren, even though I haven't met her yet. I would much rather have her than a Sharon Birchall. I'd much rather have a piece of cardboard than Sharon Birchall. So I'm hoping that Luann will see the landscape, that she'll do the right thing, that she'll drop out. And it's hard for me to say it because I love her, and I really wish that she could win. But the percentages in a primary election generally do not change unless, like, someone gets indicted or some really horrible thing happens, and then that changes everything. But usually, 90% of the time, the percentages you see in a primary stay the same in a final election. All right, let's get to Lawrence. What do we have first? We get the Lawrence mayor's race.
You want to do the Yep.
All right, let's start with the mayor's race. So in the mayor's race in Lawrence, we've got Lawrence Mayor Brian DePina versus Juan Manny Gonzalez. Can you make it just a little bit bigger so people can see? Is that possible, maybe?
Yeah,
no?
let's just do it this way then.
All right, okay. So this is District A. This is Prospect Hill. This is really interesting, and some of these numbers are really interesting, and I'm going to point these out as we go along. Okay. And so this is the 4 precincts in Prospect Hill, and it looks as though Brian DePina crushes Manny in every district, right? 155-38, 123-93.
A lot of people were saying that he was going to lose that district. So
this is the district that Fidelina cheated in the last election. Fidelina was anti-Brian, and I think that these numbers are what they are because the people that were against Brian committed voter fraud. And I think the people in this district said, listen, we're not standing with the side that was not only did they support voter fraud, but after it was revealed that there was voter fraud, continued to stand with her.
All right, let's go to B.
What's the next one? B. So here's District B. Wow, look at that.
That's Wendy Luzon's?
This is Wendy Luzon's district. I want you to let that soak in for a minute because this is where Wendy Luzon, and you're going to see in a minute that she only won her race by 5 votes. Brian wins all 4 precincts in District B. This is the North Common area where the library is. This is the seat formerly held by Estella Reyes. And Brian wins 728 to 442.
This is downtown too, like Extra Street.
This is the downtown area, the North Common area, the library area, the old Lawrence High School, all the way I think to Broadway and a little bit further up.
Okay.
Although no, I think that's C.
So City Hall
area is
B.
B, right? And so look, I mean, just B1 alone, he wins, right? Like even if he loses everything else, he still wins just from B1. And this is where Wendy Luzon, who hates the mayor, and if the mayor proposed saving babies from burning buildings, Wendy's voting no. But she's just voting no. She's voting no on everything Brian does.
I knew why. In detail.
So this goes back to
what did she ask for?
All right, pull this down and I'll tell you real quick.
All right, hold on.
So the real thing with Wendy Luzon is this. This goes back like 4 or 5 elections. So Wendy was with Dan Rivera. Dan Rivera ran against and beat Willie Lantigua. Brian was with Willie Lantigua. Yep. So this goes back to the Willie Lantigua days where she was with Brian. She was with Dan. Brian was with Willie. And so there was that animosity that just carried. I endorsed, I haven't endorsed anybody this year, but I endorsed Wendy last time. And on election night when she won, boy, I took a lot of crap from the Brian people, let me tell you. Because she was campaigning, telling people she was going after Brian. And I went to her victory party on South Broadway where the Lebanese place used to be, Monier's. And she owns that restaurant. I think she might have sold it since then. And guess who was there? Dan Rivera was there. So all of her friends from the Dan Rivera administration ran her campaign. And it was a good campaign. She ran a decent campaign. Since then, she has done nothing but attack Brian DePina on every single level. Every person Brian nominates for a position. It's gotten so bad with Wendy Luzon that when Brian nominated the new fire chief, she sat there after the contract was done, after everything was over, and then it just was a matter of the council voting to accept him. Started talking about reopening the contract, and if the mayor tells you not to go to a meeting, will you go anyway? Like, in other words, like, will you defy your boss and do what we want you to do rather than what your boss does? Like, she took that meeting where the fire chief got approved. Should have been a 20-minute meeting. It was a 4.5-hour meeting because of her and Fidelina. They went around and around.
Fidelina, who was not even supposed to be there.
Who shouldn't have even been there, right?
Wasting time, people's time.
Who also was helping Wendy Luzon. So when you look at those numbers, and pull them back up again, when you look at these numbers, this is Wendy's district. Brian's popular in Wendy's district, isn't he?
Yes.
Brian is supported by the people that Wendy represents. So what that tells you and what that tells me is that the voters of Wendy's district do not feel as though they are being represented by her attacking the mayor. But when you look at the numbers in her race, we're going to get to that in a few minutes, what you will see, though, is that they like Wendy, but they don't like the fact that she keeps going after the mayor. And I think if Wendy would just step back a little bit and pick her battles and say, gee, the mayor's wrong on this, but he's not wrong about everything, right? It's like, pick your battles.
It's very personal now.
It's proven that it's very personal.
And that's why, you know what, they can get mad at Brian all they want, but that's why he's pushing for Rosali, because he feels like there's really no getting to her, because no matter what Brian says, even if she knows it's going to benefit the city, she's not going to do it just because Brian came up with the idea.
She doesn't want him to get credit.
She doesn't want him to get credit, and it shouldn't be like that. You should always put your people first, not your emotions.
That's almost a 2-to-1 vote for Brian in District B.
Yeah.
All right?
Really good.
And if I was Wendy and I saw that, I'd be very nervous. I'd be very nervous, and I'd be thinking of ways to praise Brian on something on the campaign trail, because she only won 4 years ago by 5 votes with my endorsement. I have not endorsed her yet, and I don't know that I'm going to endorse her. I'm trying very hard to bring myself to endorse her again. I don't know that I can. I don't know that I can, especially after she called for an investigation into how Tom Duggan got a copy of a report, when that's my job
to do.
And she, by the way, could have picked up the phone and called me to find out how I got the report, and I would have told her off the record how I got the report.
I think some people are sitting on the council that have been there for too long. And I think the way that the city is moving forward might need some new eyes.
Yeah, but I mean, Wendy's a first-term councilor. Like she just got here like 2 years ago.
Really? She hasn't been there? But she's been involved in politics.
She has been involved since the Dan Rivera days, yep. And by the way, she also worked for Jim Ferrantini up in Haverhill. And if she wants to talk about corruption, she should be very careful that people don't start digging up and stuff that went on in Haverhill when she was around, because I understand that's in the process. She's going to give you a little preview of things that might be coming. It has nothing to do with me, but I happen to know that there are people. When
you give these previews, I just want to let people know I don't know anything about this. So when people try to call me and say, what does Tom mean when he says this or that? I say, I don't know. Call him yourself and find out, because I don't get involved.
In District C, this is Greg Del Rosario's district.
Yes, hold on.
And Greg Del Rosario is aligned with Brian. Not quite the difference that we see in District B, but look at that. Brian again. Now we're in 3 different districts, A, B, and C. Brian has not lost a precinct, has he?
He has not.
It's weird because all the Manny people the day after the election said, this is proof that Manny's going to win. I don't see that. Do you see that?
No, they try to change it. I don't understand. Why can't you just give him credit? Brian won the primaries. That's it.
But he didn't just win. He didn't win the final number. There were times when, a candidate could win the final number, but they lost almost every precinct. But 2 or 3 precincts, they won by so much it didn't matter. Yeah. We're in the 3rd precinct now that we're showing you these numbers. 124, 150, 114, 168 for a total of 556 versus 349. That's a 207 vote difference in District C. It's a small district. And you almost lost 2-1, right? So, again, this is the strength of Brian's opinion. Now, let me remind you of one other thing as we move on to District D, which is Giovanni and Vivian's district. Let me remind you of one other thing. When Brian ran against Kendras Vasquez 4 years ago, he lost the primary. Brian's vote, they are not primary voters. Brian's base of support are final election voters. They're not super voters. They're people that come out at the end and show their love for Brian. That's how he's won. If you look back when he ran for City Council at large, his numbers were far and away better in the final than they were in the primary. Brian's votes are not primary voters. And yet here we are, 3 precincts in, he hasn't lost one. 3 districts in, he hasn't lost a precinct.
Brian has done a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah, and
a lot of people have.
He's genuinely likable.
He is likable.
People who meet him genuinely like him. Unless you supported him because you wanted a job and you didn't get one. And then that's a different story. All right, District D. Now, this is also kind of interesting, right? So this is, by the way, Tower Hill. This is where Vivian Marmol is the district councilor, and Giovanni Rodriguez is formerly the district councilor. This is where Giovanni, who is on the opposite side of Brian, he is the council president. They both live in this district.
This is district where the Market Basket on Exeter Street is, correct? By the Exeter Street projects, the Hancocks, the Hennessy School.
And it goes from there all the way up the hill.
Yep, all the way to Exeter Street.
Right, and then all the way down the other side to Methuen.
Okay.
So it's really kind of like from Broadway to the left. If you're going Broadway north, it's Broadway all the way up to the Methuen line, up the hill and down the other side of the hill. So this encompasses like Hobson Street and
the reservoir too, or no?
Yeah, the reservoir area. Okay. That's all District D. This is Tower Hill. Every single precinct. We're now 4 precincts in. Brian DePena has not lost a precinct.
Nope.
Right? 149-20, 172-75, 84-66, 167-114. Again, 572-375. This is now the 5th district, the 20th precinct in a row that Brian wins. He doesn't show any signs of slowing down here. Let's go to Stephanie Infante's district. Let's go south. Oh, here you go. Now you're starting to see the power of the white vote, and that's exactly, by the way, what this is. Make no mistake, Brian loses this precinct, and it's because, and I'm going to tell you why, it's what I've been saying on this show since day one. Brian has lost the white vote because everything he does in Spanish. Yeah. And there's a lot of people, black, white, Asian, in Lawrence, who do not speak Spanish.
And now Creole, Haitian.
Creole, Haitian. There are people in Lawrence who are not just white, but other mixes of ethnicities who don't speak Spanish and feel severe resentment that Brian does everything in Spanish and doesn't translate it. And I've told Octavian and Andrea and Castro,
who does this communication? They should look into that.
When you do a video online of Brian standing in front of a street being paved and he's saying it in Spanish, there should be English subtitles at the bottom. It's not hard.
There's an AI program where you can be like, you can talk in Spanish and it changes the way, even the way your mouth moves, and it changes it to a different language.
And it's like $9.99, right? It's like cheap.
Some AI programs are probably a little bit more, but this is city; they can afford it.
Right. Well, but pay for that campaign war chest.
Oh, there you go.
That,
like $50 a month or something. Maybe?
So yeah, but so here's what you got. You get E1. He loses. Manny Gonzalez finally starting to pour it on a little bit, right? 205 for Manny, 132 for Brian. But I don't know. You go to E2, right?
Yeah.
It's I screwed that up. Look at that. I put the yellow on the 121 instead of the 188. I apologize. So he wins. 1, 2. So Manny wins 3 of the 4. That's my mistake. Manny wins 3 of the 4. He wins E1, E2, E3. This is Stephanie Infante's district. Yeah. Stephanie, who supported Kendris Vasquez last time around, has been much more. She's the one counselor that I think when Brian's right will stand with Brian, and when she thinks Brian's wrong will stand against Brian. And I think
she's peer pressured by the other counselors.
Yeah, but I think she's a lot more objective than the other counselors.
Yeah,
I think,
she is.
I think she at least can say, if you look at the consistency of her votes, that she's not always against Brian and she's not always with Brian.
She took a pause during the budget meetings.
Remember that?
Remember
that? She almost did the right.
She almost did the right thing with the free cash.
Right.
You know, she really thought about. She was the final vote, decisive vote.
But she could have just
But she ended up going with her peers.
Right. But she could have just said no out of the gate, and you could tell that she was laboring it because she wanted to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And although I don't agree with what her vote was, I know for sure she was trying to do the right thing. And I know that she believed she was doing the right thing. Yeah, so here you go. There's a 150 vote difference. Manny beats Brian 638 to 488. And this is the Mount Vernon section. So this is where the water tower is. This is Beacon Street. This is South Broadway. This is Mount Vernon Street. Roberta Lane. This is Cheshire Drive. This is what?
Roberta Lane. Didn't that happen?
It's a beautiful neighborhood over there. We love Roberta Lane. I have a friend.
What happened to the fence? That happened.
Right. And then we've got Mark LaPlante's district, who's running unopposed, as it should be. The guy does a great job. And look at this. Once again, Manny pours it on again. He pulls 2 precincts.
Manny also speaks English. Can't deny that.
Right, absolutely. And he speaks fluent. Brian speaks English too.
He does.
He's just not fluent. He has a very serious accent that I think I think Brian is self-conscious of his accent.
He is. I think so.
And I think that he is kind of embarrassed by his accent. And I think that's part of the reason that he doesn't do more in English. But there's ways around that. Like, he should be, as the mayor, he needs to address it.
He does.
If he addresses it, these numbers will change in the final. It might be too late at this point, but he still needs to address it. So
anyway, I've spoken to him in English. Like I can speak to him, have a full conversation.
I did a whole interview with him
in English, and he answered
all the questions. He was understandable, although we did put subtitles to make sure. But here you go. F1. This is Colonial Heights. 166 for Manny. That's your white vote. I'm telling you right now. Like, you could say this is racism. It's not. That's your white vote. Every single spot where you see Manny beating Brian in E and F is your white. And I shouldn't just say white. It's your white/black/Asian vote. It's your non-Latino vote.
White. You can say white. We know what you know. What
well,
you
but I mean, it also encompasses Asians and blacks, and so it's not just white, right? There is that other. I
wonder what the percentage is of like what you're saying in those districts.
I'll pull those up. I can get those for you. But even though Manny wins, he does win this district. He wins 439 to 391. It's only a 48 vote difference, and it certainly doesn't make up for A, B, C, D, and E. So of all of them, we'll pull up the final. I have a final spot there for you. Okay. A final a thing just to kind of like put a fine tune on this to show you what exactly.
I don't have that.
You don't have the. It should say final.
Let me see.
Should say mayor final. No. Because I have like how many precincts he won and what the total. I have the total vote. We don't have the total vote. So are you sure?
Yeah. Let me see. All right. Keep talking. I'll pull it up. Let's go to the other one and we'll go back to this.
Well, we can't go to the other one because then you have to pull up other things.
No, we can go to the.
Oh, let's go to the district and then we'll come back?
We can go to at large. You didn't send me the.
I thought I sent you everything I had. All right, so let's go to the. Sorry. Are we going at large first or district? All right, so let's go to at large. Listen, I hate to say I told you so, and I hope John Regal is listening. I supported the guy. I liked the guy. Did not take any of my advice. Oh, that's not true. He took some of my advice. But when it came time to, what did I say? He was going to get between 15 and 20%, and that he was probably going to come close to last because he attacked Brian. But he didn't just attack Brian. Look at those numbers at the bottom. He didn't just attack Brian. He attacked some of Brian's candidates in the other races. Now, he's running citywide. It's not very smart to be attacking someone in District B who's getting 50% of the vote in District B. Not very smart to attack people in District C, that's the mayor's candidate, when 30 or 40% of those people are voting, or 50 or 60% of those people are voting for the mayor. Here we go. Your totals at the end. Selena Reyes tops the ticket with 2,810 votes. Giovanni Rodriguez, a comfortable second place, 2715. And as I always say, Anna Levy always runs what I call a Linda Campbell week, 2162. What are you doing over there? You seem like you got.
No, I'm getting the numbers for you.
Anna Levy with 2162. You see, I've put yellow on the precincts that were won. Selena Reyes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 precincts. She comes in first place. Giovanni wins, comes in first in his home district, and ties in District F, where Michael Plant is the council president. Mm-hmm. Then you've got in fourth place. This is kind of surprising. Did anybody know who Nelson Rosario was before Tuesday? I didn't.
I did.
I live and breathe though, because but you're on all those Spanish talk shows.
No, I think we went to high school together.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Is he a nice guy? Like, do you know him?
He's a very nice guy.
Because I've never heard of him. He never reached out to us.
At first, I was supporting him. Not supporting him, but, I was all for it. I know this guy. He's a coach. He's in basketball. I don't know basketball. Don't quote me on that. But he does coach kids, and he's well known, amongst my generation. Mm-hmm. But then when John Regal came around and he said he wanted to run as my friend, I was like, you know what? I'll support John this time.
So his Nelson Rosario pulls in fourth place. But by a lot, though, right? He's got to win 800. He's going to get almost 1,000 votes, maybe a little bit less than 1,000 votes to beat Anna Levy. Make no mistake about it. You're not going to beat Selena Reyes, and you're not going to beat Giovanni Rodriguez. Those three at the bottom, Nelson Rosario, Freddie Diaz, who I think should have had a better shot than that, and John Regal, those three candidates are now, all 6 of these top are going to go on to the final election. Mm-hmm. But campaigning against Selena is going to be a waste of time. Campaigning against Giovanni is going to be a waste of time. Or Brian DePena is not only going to be a waste of time, it's going to cost you votes, as I told you it would before the primary. So the person to target, if you want to win, you got to target Anna Levy. That's the person who's weak. That's the person who's in third place. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to win, if you're Nelson, Freddie, or John Regal, the person to target is Anna Levy. She's the one in third place because you're not going to beat the other two. And I'm not really even sure you're going to be able to beat Anna Levy. But if you've got a shot, that's the path to get there. It's to go after Anna Levy. Now, here's something else that's interesting if you look at these numbers. Selena at the top and Anna Levy in third place are both pro-Bryan candidates. Giovanni is an anti-Bryan candidate. He's anti-mayor. The other two are pro-mayor. And they're all within a couple of hundred votes of each other. They're all in the top three. And if you look precinct for precinct, they're all in the top three. There is no, except for Nilsen Rosario in A, there's nobody else who comes in the top three. Right? Am I looking at that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Yes. And yeah, so except for Nilsen Rosario in District A, which I assume that's where he lives. Otherwise, why would he pull such a big vote? Nilsen comes in. No, that's right. That's a 2. That's not a 3. So no. So there's no precinct here. There's not one precinct here where all three incumbents don't come in for a second and third in some way or form. That means in order for Nilsen, Freddie, or John Regal to win, they've got to target the person who's in third place. And there's no other way around that. And let me say one more thing. If John Regal had done what Nilsen Rosario did. Now, Nilsen, by the way, is an anti-Bryan candidate.
He is. Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I know that is because Altagracia Maggi was holding a sign for him on Election Day, and she hates the mayor.
That's the only reason why she would.
But what I'm saying is, we didn't know that Nilsen Rosario was anti-mayor because he didn't say it. He didn't go on Facebook and attack the mayor. He didn't go on radio shows and attack all the mayor's candidates. He kept it to himself. And he went out and he campaigned on his name and on the issues. And when you campaign on your name and on the issues, who you like and who you doesn't like does not factor into your number. But when you do campaign on who you like and don't like, for example, if you go out there and you promote Wendy Luzon because Wendy hates the mayor, you can guarantee that the vast majority of the people voting against Wendy are going to now vote against you. By the way, the other problem with that is most of the people who like Wendy aren't necessarily going to vote for you. They're voting for her because they like her. Just because you say nice things about her doesn't mean they're going to vote for you too. So you don't get the benefit of her voters, but you certainly get the backlash of the people who don't like her. And this is why, as a friend and as somebody who supported John, I kept saying over and over and over on every show, stop attacking the mayor, stop attacking his candidates. Make it about the issues, make it about you, make it about your family, make it about your kids, make it about the city. But every time you mention Brian's name, every time you talk about the administration, every time you throw red meat to the people who surrounded you when you first got in this race, the D'Amicos and the people who hate Brian, every time you throw red meat to them, every time you say something to make them happy, you're losing votes. I don't know. And I said,
especially as a new runner, you don't know what these people have done in the past.
Right.
You don't know anything about them. So why support them so?
So my prediction is that you're going to see no difference in the final. It's going to be Selena, Giovanni, and Anna Levy. I think all these numbers will be bigger, but the percentage difference won't be the same because you're going to have more voters, but the percentage won't be different. And unless one of the top three candidates goes out and shoots up a McDonald's, or gets arrested, or gets arrested for selling drugs, or some major thing happens, those numbers are not going to change. Let's look at the district numbers, because here's where everything comes together. And if this is why, by the way, John Regal and some of the other people who didn't want to listen to me, this is why when you go to college, they call this political science, because there is a science to it. Mm-hmm. There is a science to it, and you think that it's just all random stuff, and if you just say the right thing, sit next to the right people, throw red meat to the right people, you're going to win. It's never the case.
Nope.
Never the case. You know how they say there's an exception to every rule? Not that one. There's no exception to that rule. Politics is a science, and if you treat it like a science, you're almost always going to win if you have a viable candidate. And I think John Regal was a very viable candidate stepping into this race.
He has the name, the language.
And he's so friggin' smart. Yeah. The guy gets it. Like, I so really want to see him on that council.
And he's a conservative. That's why I supported him.
I know, and I really want to see him on that council. But he fell in with Jalissa. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Manny Gonzalez, pay attention to what I'm telling you. John Regal, pay attention to what I'm telling you. You think that because you go on Julissa's page and you see a lot of people follow her, you think that's going to translate to votes. It doesn't. I have 16,000 people follow me. Half of them hate me. Just because I have 16,000 people follow me on Facebook doesn't mean they love Tom Duggan. A lot of them are looking to see me screw up so they can go. They're all the Debo Brown people of the world that are just waiting for me to screw up so they can attack me. So just because Julissa has a number of people on her Facebook page and there's a lot of people comment on her page doesn't mean that they're going to go along with whoever she wants. She endorsed John Regal. She endorsed Manny. They both got slaughtered. Who told you that was going to happen at the beginning? You guys didn't want to listen. And it's not because Tom's a genius. It's because Tom ran for office for the first time in 1985. I was a high school senior, and I lost by 11 votes.
40 years ago.
I served on the school committee for 3 years, from 96 to 99. I've been involved in every election since then. It's not because I'm a genius. It's because I've been doing this a long time, and I know what I'm doing. And, again, it's not because I don't like... People always want to diminish what I say by going, well, he just doesn't like that person. It's personal. There's always this ulterior motive thing that people try to attach to everything that I say to dismiss what I say. But I don't say it because it's personal. I don't say it because of those ulterior motives. Some of them might actually be true. Some of these people I may not like. I don't like Julissa, but that's not why I'm saying it. I just finished defending Debo Brown 5 minutes ago. Do you think I enjoyed doing that? No.
Nope.
But that's who I am. I'm just going to tell you the way that it is. And I told you guys Julissa Nunez was going to hurt you. Guess what? Julissa Nunez hurt you. She hurt you. There's just no two ways around it. And when Manny sat here on my show last week, right before the election, and the very last thing he said was to defend Julissa, I can't even tell you how many emails and direct messages I got after the show. 20 to 30 people saying to me, you know what, I was actually going to friggin' vote for the guy. And they don't like Brian, so you know what they did? They stayed home. They didn't vote. They didn't vote for him. I shouldn't say they stayed home. They went and they voted for councilors. They voted for school committee, but they left the mayor blank because Manny defended Julissa.
You know, that's the thing. Post-pandemic, that has changed a lot about people. I even said it on one of your shows before the presidential, elections happened. I said, nobody cares that Beyonce likes Kamala Harris.
Right.
I like her music.
Yep.
Nobody cares what LeBron James has to say about politics.
Right.
We live in two different places, in two different worlds, in two different levels. Why should I care?
Yep.
So you can have a following, but that doesn't mean you can influence. I'm not all worked up. You can be an influencer, right? You can people come to you for information and whatnot, but that doesn't mean they're listening to you or they're gonna do what you tell them to. Things have changed.
I'm a big fan of Bryan Adams. I love his music, but when he came out and he said Donald Trump's a fascist and he's a Nazi.
Okay.
That didn't make me think Donald Trump was a fascist or a Nazi. It just made me think the guy's got good music and doesn't know shit about politics.
Do you still like his music?
Yeah, his music's still good.
Yeah, exactly. Things have changed.
Yes.
People need to understand that. But let's say really quick before we keep going with these numbers. We have Nelson Rosario here. He says, I live in F and I believe Mark is not the change needed. That's one of the reasons I went for at large.
Wait, say that again.
He says, I live in F.
Yes.
And believe Mark is not the change needed. That's one of the reasons I went for at large.
Okay,
Meaning he didn't run for F because he believes Mark is a great choice for F.
That gives me a lot of respect for Nils. Can we get him on the show next week?
I try to get him today, but he works until 3:30. Unless we do something later, I don't mind.
Well, you know what? Let's say in 2 weeks we'll schedule a later show.
Okay.
I want to accommodate him. Yes. I think he handles himself with class.
He does.
I never once saw him attack anyone. Let's get him on the show and let's hear what he has to say.
Of course. We also have Michael Agricola.
I love Mike Agricola. Salvatore's Restaurant.
Your boyfriend.
I love him. Listen, I'm the most heterosexual guy in the world. I'm actually somewhat of a homophobe in that, like, I'm kind of grossed out by gay stuff.
Yeah.
But I would marry him if I had the chance.
Oh, that's
I
cute.
would gay marry him.
And then we have Marie Lemieux.
Marie
I
Lemieux.
never know how to say her.
She's a new advertiser. Let me see if I can pull up. I can't pull up her ad here. I promise I'll bring the ad in. I'm going to give her a free ad on the podcast.
Yeah. And we also have Rafael Pimentel watching. And Michael says, hi, guys. Hi, Michael.
I love him.
You know some pasta.
Let me tell you what's really good over there is because people ask me all the time. They say, hey, Tom, I see you always promoting Salvatore's. I'm going there with my wife this week. What do you recommend? Here's what I recommend at Salvatore's. The absolute best thing on the menu, for sure, bar none, the butternut squash ravioli. Now, he doesn't give you a lot, so you got to get an appetizer with it, but you'll be fine if you do.
Maybe he does give a lot, but your level,
I'm fat, so for me, it's not. I can tell you,
I love the steak tips.
Steak tips are good, but tied for second place is the Veal Marsala and the clams and linguine, both tied for second place.
Does he have lobster ravioli too, I believe, right? I think I got it
I think only on the specials. I think he does a special on those.
Okay.
And then he's got a lot of other things.
The cheesecake to die for.
Cheesecake's amazing. Amazing.
Hi, Ken Willett. How are you?
Ken Willet's great. We're getting we're gonna get to Methuen next week. We're gonna talk a lot more. We're gonna get him in here too.
I know.
Maybe we can get him on the show.
All right, let's go. You want the difference or you want the
district
districts?
races? Let's go district real quick.
Okay.
All right, here's District A. You had 5 candidates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nelson Miguel. Oh, by the way, just want to let you know, Santa Claus and his mother both endorsed Franklin Miguel this morning. just want to let you know. Everybody on the planet. Jesus came back from the dead and endorsed Franklin Miguel last week.
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa is also back from the dead to endorse him. Franklin Miguel, who got every single endorsement of every person on the planet, including Boutros Ghali, who's no longer the head of the UN. He died like 15 years ago. He also endorsed Franklin Miguel.
I thought it was the head of the Soviet Union. I'm like, wait a minute.
No. Captain Kirk and the United Federation of Planets also have endorsed Franklin Miguel.
I gotta stop my microphone.
So he ran with every single political person in the Democrat Party. I think Joe Biden came to Lawrence last week and also endorsed Franklin Miguel. Except he didn't know who he was endorsing because he still doesn't.
He doesn't know.
He didn't know. He was looking
He
was looking for his Jello pudding. So Franklin Miguel wins every precinct by a lot, like by a mile. And of course, he had Francisco Polino and Frank
Stella.
Moran and I don't know why Barry Feingold.
Reyes,
I don't know
Payano.
I don't know why Barry Feingold from Andover is getting involved in a city council district race, but he also endorsed Franklin Miguel. So it's obvious that they're putting Franklin Miguel, the Democrat Party, just like Ella McLaren in Methuen, they're putting him up because they are grooming him for a state rep seat or a state senate seat. He's very well. And by the way, I was going to endorse Franklin Miguel until I saw all those endorsements. And I said,
it made you feel like unsure about it?
Well, it made me, I like that view much better.
Yeah.
It made me feel as though he was, here's the thing, and I don't want to say this for sure, but this is how it made me feel. Seeing Barry Feingold, like the others are all from Lawrence, I get that. But seeing Barry Feingold endorse Franklin Miguel and some other people from outside the city made me feel as though if I endorse Franklin Miguel, this is a guy that's not really going to care about District A. He doesn't not really going to care about the city council. This is a stepping stone to run for something else. And he's going to be, every decision he makes is going to be what I call a NICK DIZOGLIO decision. It's going to be based on licking your finger, holding it to the wind, seeing where the voters are going to go so you don't piss anybody off so you can run for something later on. And again, I'm not saying that that's the case, but it sure as hell looks that way.
Is he like a career Democrat, you think?
I don't know what his political affiliation is. I know that he's friends with, and I've supported him. He ran for city council twice before I supported him. I didn't support him, at least so far this time, because Myra's my friend and I didn't want to hurt her. So I wanted to endorse Myra. And I didn't endorse Myra because she became a hater of Brian. Not that she disagreed with him, but she got in with Jonathan Guzman. And everything Brian did was wrong.
Telemundo.
That whole group of people that are haters, the Jonathan Guzman cabal, Jonathan Guzman, Lennon Roa, and all that whole little group of people that think everything Brian does is wrong no matter what he does. The Wendy Luzons, the Altagracia Magis, all that whole little group. She got in with them and she started parroting what they were saying. And if she had come out at one point and said, Brian's right about this one thing, even just once, I would have said, I fully endorse Myra Ortiz, and I would have called her, and I would have given her some advice. I would have written her a check, and I probably would have even held a sign for her on Election Day. She's a friend, and I love her. I love her son. He's a great kid.
And I used to take care of both her kids at the Y when I worked
Really?
there. Yeah. I know a lot of the kids from the communities.
Myra's a really good, decent person who really cares about the community.
She does.
It hurts me to see those numbers that she came in really far at the bottom. I think, again, don't want to sound like a broken record, but when you're attacking Brian everywhere you go, do you think Franklin Miguel was attacking Brian DePena? Hey, John Miguel, look at those numbers. Do you think Franklin Miguel was attacking Brian DePena with those numbers? right?
No.
Do you think? Rich Russell? Do you think that Franklin Miguel was attacking Brian?
And let me
DePina?
tell you something. He is not a Brian DePina.
I know he's not. He was with Kendra Vasquez 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So here's a guy that's not a friend of Brian, who's not a supporter of Brian, but he kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
And he did not telegraph to people that he was going to be anti-Brian. So people who vote for Brian, by the way, who won every one of these precincts in the mayor's race? Brian.
Brian did.
Brian won every precinct. Franklin Miguel won every precinct because Franklin Miguel kept his mouth shut. Yeah. That's why. And so...
You can't come to people with like the same, like, oh my God. And then there's a bunch of them, a little group. They call the Brian supporters the little group. No, you guys are the little group on the other side, spreading hate and false information.
Yeah.
Also, learn how to lose.
Right.
Right. At least give yourself credit for trying.
Yep.
Give yourself credit for going through with this. You know how many people started on this race and dropped out or didn't even try to do the campaigning where they saw how much work it actually takes? Like, give yourself credit.
It's a lot of work. And you know what? Let me say this for the people who are tuning in that don't really know most of these people. You have to give credit to every single person that we talked about today who put their name on the ballot. Because all people do all year, every day, is complain about how things are. But they never actually step forward to try and do anything about it. So whether you're Ramon Lopez or even I'm even going to say Rich Russell, right, who came in last in the at-large race, as it should be. Those people who ran, even those who didn't have a chance and ran anyways, you have to give them credit for trying because they went out there, they put their name on the line, knowing in this environment that by running for office, by simply putting your name on the ballot, somebody out there is going to dig up something about your background and attack you on it.
Even if you owe money on a water bill, I've seen that.
They're going to attack you on it.
Oh, she hasn't paid her water bill. She must be awful. I'm like, really?
Yeah. When I ran for City Council, I ran for District F City Council, and I won the primary by a lot. I ran against a guy named George Miller, and his supporters went out and found that I owed $800 in parking tickets. And they made the case to the newspaper, the Eagle Tribune, ran a front-page story that basically because my father was a cop, I thought I could do whatever I wanted, and he would take care of the parking tickets, right? And so I came out and I said, well, if that was the case, you wouldn't know that I had $800 in parking tickets. They'd all be fixed, wouldn't they? The Tribune took my quote out of context and said, Tom Duggan said his father could have fixed the parking tickets. And I ended up getting slaughtered over parking tickets. Wow. So whenever you run, Ramon Lopez, Myra, Vladimir Acevedo, Lizzie, Miguel, all the people in the at-large race, including John Regal, give these people credit for stepping forward, whether you like them and support them or not. They were at least brave enough to put their name and their reputation out there to help their community. Whether you agree with them and you like them or you support the way they did things. I was very critical of John Regal, and I've been very critical of John Regal because I really wanted him to win, and I saw him doing things that I didn't think could.
When I saw that he was a Republican, I was like, this is it.
Yeah, like, I really wanted him.
Oh my God, he's a conservative, he's a good husband, a good son, all of these things, a hard worker. But the emotional part.
He made a video today, and I looked and I went, this is going to be him whining about losing the election. And it wasn't. He said, we have to all go to City Hall and put a stop to mail-in voting. I'm like, if he just said that instead of attacking Brian for the last 3 months, he would be beating in a levy. Yeah. He would be beating. You're not going to beat the other two, but he would be beating in a levy. Yeah. So this is District A. This is Prospect Hill. It's Franklin Miguel versus Lizzie Rivas. Lizzie, stay home. Notify the election department that you're withdrawing. You're not going to beat Franklin Miguel. Impossible. Santa Claus is going to come in with his mom and Jesus Christ and Mother Teresa and Vladimir Putin. They're all going to come into Lawrence. They're all going to endorse Franklin Miguel, and he's going to win. Barack Obama, I understand, will be in District A next week, and he will be endorsing Franklin Miguel. So
is he coming with Michelle Obama too?
Yes, and I really wish that I could have endorsed Myra, and I hope she runs again. And if she does, and she's not part of the hater group, I will support her. I love that woman more than anybody knows.
She's so sweet.
She tries so hard to help the community.
She goes out of her way to help people.
She's made great personal sacrifices to help the city of Lawrence, and she's severely underappreciated. So, Myra, I love you. I wish I could have endorsed you. I really wanted to endorse you. Those numbers that you see, I call those Julissa Nunez numbers. It's just what they are.
All right, let's go to District B.
Let's go to District B. Wow. Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Uh-oh, 5 points.
So Wendy...
Hi, Luis Robles. He's watching.
Luis Robles, my candidate for school committee. You got to throw that kid a vote. In fact, give him a bullet vote. You know what that is?
What is that?
So when it says vote for 3, if you only vote for one person, it's like giving them 3 votes.
Okay.
Because you're taking one vote away from the other 2 people you could be voting for.
Really?
So that's called a bullet vote, for those of you who don't know. So when you are voting for someone for, say, at-large in Methuen for City Council, let's say you really like John Drew and he's the one person you really want to win, just vote for John Drew.
He gets all 3 points.
It's like it's like giving him 3 votes because you're taking 2 votes away from 2 other candidates. And you would hate to vote for John Drew and 2 other candidates and have one of those other candidates beat John Drew by 1 vote. Right? You know what I'm saying?
You heard that, Lewis?
Hear that, Lewis? Go. So if you're voting for school committee in Lawrence, throw him a bullet vote. Vote for just Luis Robles. That kid belongs on the...
He's a father.
Yes.
Okay? I'm not saying anything about anybody else on the...
And we're going to get to his numbers in a second, but
he is a father, and he's a
Yep.
conservative, and he's a God-fearing man.
Yep.
So I respect that. Lewis
so his District B, Wendy Luzon, who hates the mayor. By the way, the mayor won every precinct. Wendy wins 3 out of 4, but look at that first precinct. Look at that first precinct. She got clobbered in B1.
That's Exodus 3, I believe.
So she gets clobbered in B1. The mayor won B1. Do you think maybe, just maybe, if she was not hating on the mayor 24/7, just maybe if she was more like Stephanie Infante and gave the mayor credit once in a while when the mayor did something good, that number would be reversed. That number would be 219 on top and 155 on the bottom.
Vivian is the same way, too. She doesn't attack him like
Right. And that's one of the reasons I like Vivian, and I'm supporting Vivian, too. But, wow, look at this number. Remember, Wendy, on a recount 2 years ago, won by 5 votes. So, once again, in a primary, she's winning by 5 votes. I have not endorsed anyone in that race yet. I endorsed her 2 years ago. I may stay out of it. I may endorse Rosalie Gonzalez. If you don't think that I can at least influence 6 votes in that district, you are not paying attention. It's not because I'm a genius. It's because I know a lot of people in that district. I have not endorsed anybody. I know a lot of people that didn't vote in that district.
People think that all you do is go on Facebook and you have your podcast. Right. They don't know all the things you do behind doors.
Right, because I don't that's because I broadcast so much of what I do that they think that's all I do. And there's a lot of things that I do that I don't put on Facebook, that I don't broadcast. I'm in the neighborhoods a lot. I'm in the schools a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I do a lot of ride-alongs with police. I did a ride-along with the feds last week. They were doing an ICE raid. And they said, you can come, but you can't bring a camera. But you can come just to see what we do. And later on, if you want to write a story about it, we'll let you know. And I said, fine. And I went. I'm not going to tell you which one it was, but it was in Lawrence. It was very eye-opening on how some of the methods that they use. But I didn't post it on Facebook. I didn't talk about it on the show. There's a lot of things that I do that I don't talk about. And that's because the volume of stuff that I do talk about leads my enemies to believe that that's all that's going on. Wow, 5 votes. All right, let's go to District C. Here's Gregory Del Rosario. There's a 301 vote difference between him and Victor Hernandez. Now, I feel bad for Victor Hernandez. He's a nice kid. I've been following him on Facebook for a while. He seems like a nice kid. But I don't think you could beat a guy like Gregory. He's just, first of all, he's very good looking. Yep. And when it's true. When I say that about women, people think that I'm saying it because I'm some kind of leech. When I say that about like Stephanie and Vivian, they think it's because, Tom's just a pervert. No, I'm saying this about Greg too, and he's a guy and I'm not gay. When you're a good-looking person and you're running for office, you get more votes because people pay more attention to you. It's one of the reasons why people on CNN talk about, just because someone's fat and someone's ugly doesn't mean anything. And then what do you see on their show every single day? Good-looking
hot women,
men and women, hot women. When was the last time you put on CNN and there was a obese 70-year-old woman giving you the news? Never.
Nope.
Never.
With facial hair. You would never see that.
You'd never see it, right? But these are the liberals that tell you that these things aren't important. Looks aren't important. But, by the way, now to our correspondent who's 19 and hot, right?
Yeah.
Greg is a good-looking guy. Yeah. He's also a very dynamic guy. He speaks English fluently. He speaks Spanish fluently. Yeah. He's also the kind of person. I'm going to tell you a very quick story because I know we're running over. So there was an issue in South Lawrence with Mark LaPlante. Him and Mark don't get along, or at least at the time they didn't. I don't know if they've repaired it. And Mark called me and said, can you ever believe this? And he's kind of just telling me the story off the record, and that's why I'm not giving you details. And he told me the story, and he's like, I don't get this guy. Like, I proposed this, and he's getting in my way, and there's no need for it. And so I called Greg, and I said, Greg, we don't really talk that much, but just had a conversation with one of your counselors, and he was expressing this concern, and I like him and I like you. Can I bridge the gap? Can I be the peacemaker? Can I make this work? And he took my call. He listened to my concern. He hung up. He called me back a few hours later and said, I've been thinking about it since you called me. I think you're right. I think maybe I was a little too quick to judge Mark on this issue. And you tell Mark if he puts it back on the agenda, I'll support it. I think maybe he's right. Maybe I was a little frustrated at something he had said, and I snapped at him, and maybe I shouldn't have. And I watched the next meeting, and I watched him change his vote. It had to do with a veteran in South Lawrence. And I sat there really in awe that you had a city councilor who took a public stand against something, and because somebody called their attention to the fact that they were being a little unreasonable, even though we pushed back at the beginning like we all do when someone tells us we're wrong, he thought about it and called me back and said, Tom, I think you're right. Like, I think I was wrong about that. And if you tell him to put it back on the agenda, I will champion. Not only will I vote for it, I'll champion it. And he did. And that's one of the reasons why somebody asked me this morning, why do you support Gregory? He this, he that. They talked about some of his deficiencies, all of which are true. And I said, there's a reason why. Because when you tell him he's wrong and you can show him he's wrong, he's willing to change his vote.
He respects authority, too.
Yeah, he does.
He admires, those
police officers,
the mayor, the state reps. And one thing, I had a conversation with Luis Robles about 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, I don't remember. I said, Gregory is accessible.
Yes, he is. Call him and he'll answer.
He'll always answer. Yep. Anyone wants to talk to him. Anyone who's thinking of running politics, which is something they do a lot. People that are already, city councilors, people reach out to them. Hey, I'm thinking of running for some type of political this or that. They will ignore them. They ghost them. They don't pay attention to them. Not Gregory. Gregory will actually sit down with you and have a conversation. Yeah,
and he's a busy guy. He's got a full-time job, a wife, 3 kids.
3 kids, yeah.
And he's on the city council, and he's involved with CSU. He's involved with volunteering his time with a lot of stuff, and he will still take your phone call, and he will still sit down with you over coffee and help you with stuff. And so that's why I like him. And if Victor Hernandez was running against anybody else, I'd probably be supporting Victor Hernandez. Victor, if you're listening and you're watching, if you lose, and it looks like you probably will in November, please run again. Please run for something again, whether it's school committee, state rep, whatever. You've got a voice in this community, and you behaved like a grown-up. Unlike some others, you behaved like a grown-up. And I just want to say we encourage you to run again.
All right, let's go to the next district.
The coffee's starting to come up. I have Cafe Bustelo. You go to a restaurant in Lawrence, you order Cafe Bustelo, they bring you out these tiny little cups.
Yeah.
And I'm used to drink, really strong. I'm used to drinking Cafe Bustelo in something this big.
Sometimes they make it really strong.
Yeah, that's why.
It's cultural.
This is very strong too. This is.
Oh, I believe.
This is rocket fuel. Here's District D. Here's Vivian Marmel. I love Vivian Marmel, even though once again she's never once bothered to call me and say thank you.
She will. I
don't know. I don't think so. I don't think the love goes both ways. Against Iris Mata. Now, Iris Mata is the Brian DePina candidate. He recruited her to run against Vivian Marmel. Yep, against Vivian Marmel. 150 to 101, 147.82, 86 to 47, 183 to 72 for a 264 vote. Why does that keep happening?
No, just keep talking.
264 vote difference. It's almost 2 to 1 that Vivian wins. So
those are good numbers though for Edie. So she just came out.
Yeah, well, she did well, but that's the power of Brian, though, not the power of her, right?
Yeah.
If she was running on her own and Brian wasn't supporting her, those numbers would look like Rich Russell numbers.
Yeah,
right. Those would be at the bottom.
Rich Russell.
Well, Rich runs and loses every time he runs. And I'm really kind of convinced that Rich runs just for the sake of running. And I see him at these debates, and it makes him feel important that he's up there and people care about what he thinks. And he does have a voice in Lawrence. Like, I'm not a fan of his anymore because he's turned on me, and he certainly turned on the Valley Patriot after everything we've done for him. But he still has a voice in Lawrence. And him and Brenda Rossi both still have they have a perspective that I don't agree with, but they have a right and they have a voice, and they give a voice to people who share their opinion that don't always have access to get their opinions out on a platform. Having said that, so it looks like Vivian's going to sail toward re-election. Yeah. The only one really so far is Wendy Luzon. We're not sure whether she's going to win the final or not. and I think every single vote's going to count. I'm leaning toward endorsing Rosalie Gonzalez. I want to see what happens with this voter fraud stuff that's coming out
Rosalie
first.
looks like she knows her stuff.
I haven't talked to her yet.
Smart.
I said hi to her at Greg's fundraiser, but I haven't talked to her.
I saw an interview that they did in the Spanish radio.
Yeah, but can she speak English?
Yes.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, she speaks English.
All right, so then I need Estella Reyes, my friend Estella Reyes, needs to set up a lunch with me and Rosalie Gonzalez, and I want to see what she thinks about public records, because Wendy did nothing on my public records request. Nothing. I want to know what she thinks about that, whether people should get free public records. I want to know what she thinks about making the police scanner public.
Yeah. I want to know her thoughts on immigration.
Immigration, right? And the police scanner being public, that's something we're going to talk a lot about in the coming months, because the Democrat Party runs around talking about secret police and how ICE is the secret police. You want to talk about secret police? How about when your police department has their scanner go encrypted and you can't monitor what they're doing? You want to talk? You're worried about Donald Trump. You should be worrying about your local police department encrypting their police scanner and operating in silence, in secret, in your own community.
Isn't that contradictotive?
Total contradiction. Total hypocrisy.
All they do.
Total hypocrisy. Total hypocrisy.
Well, we have Gabby Robles as well.
Gabby Robles.
Watching. I just realized Luis Robles, Gabby Robles.
Yeah, I think they're related.
Oh, they are?
I think they're cousins or something.
Nice. All right, let's go to...
let's go to E. Here's Stephanie Infante. I love Stephanie Infante.
There you go.
She wins by 2-1 as well.
Oh, my
God. A little bit more
yeah.
than 2-1, right? But look, she does... Stephanie Infante is not running around with Julissa Nunez. Stephanie Infante is not running around attacking the mayor. Stephanie Infante is not running around attacking the mayor's candidates in other races. Stephanie Infante says the mayor's wrong when he's wrong, or when she thinks he's wrong, and he's right when she thinks he's right. Wendy's afraid to say when she thinks the mayor's right, because she's now got this cheering squad behind her that's pushing her because they hate Brian, and she doesn't want to upset them.
Well, that tells me everything I need to know right there. She's not objective.
Stephanie cares about what's right, not who she doesn't like. So this Eric Machuca
is Machuca.
Is it Machuca? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Eric Machuca.
He works at the radio.
Haven't met him. He's probably a very nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
Brian's my friend. I know Brian recruited him. Brian's people called me and asked me if I would help him. I had to politely decline. Stephanie's my girl. She's been my girl since day one.
Gabby said they're not related. Sorry.
No, all right. Oh, I thought they were. I thought they were cousins.
No.
And his Stephanie, she slaughtered him in every district.
Yeah.
217.99, 205.88, 158.63, 158.66. And here's what's interesting. You know, if you want to doubt what I've been telling you about, don't be hanging out with Julissa and don't be attacking the mayor. The mayor won half these precincts. Manny won half these precincts. Stephanie won all of them. You know why?
Because she was partial.
Because she was impartial. She was objective. She sat there and said the mayor's wrong when she thinks he's wrong and he's right when she thinks he's right. She's not a hater, but she's also not a puppet. She's not a puppet for Brian, which is just as bad, but she's not a hater. So you've got a woman, who's sitting on the city council from District E, a predominantly white district, a Latina woman. Latina, I guess, is obviously woman. I guess that's a contradiction in terms, who slaughtered the guy that she ran against. And she slaughtered him by not going negative. She slaughtered him by not attacking people. She slaughtered him by going out there and talking to her constituents about what they care about.
And not only that, she also slaughtered them because she's already there.
Well, she's already there. That's true. But you know what? Wendy's already there too.
Yeah, but Wendy is.
But what I'm saying is Wendy's already there too.
You're right.
And she's 5 votes away from losing. Actually, technically, she's 3 votes away from losing. She wins by 5 votes. Take 3 votes away from her. Give it to the other person. She wins by 1.
Okay.
Right? So if you add...
you think Rosalie has a good chance of taking her?
She's got a really good chance of taking her. And you've got Estella Reyes now helping her with her campaign.
Oh, Rosalie?
Yes. And you've got Brian pushing her. And if there's no real major scandal, then I think Rosalie could do it. It's really going to depend on how Wendy handles. This is going to be Wendy's race to win or lose. And it's really going to, I don't think, depend too much on what Rosalie does. I think it's going to depend on what Wendy does. I tried to get Gary Mannion to come in and do some of this election analysis because he's really good at this stuff too.
You could have had him called. We can take boots with him.
He's working though. He's at the fire station. He's a firefighter.
Okay. Who did you say?
Gary Mannion.
Oh, okay. I have the finals for the
Let's do the finals for mayor. Going back to what that was. Here's your final. Brian 54, almost 55%. Juan Manny Gonzalez 45%. 566 vote difference. It's not a lot, right? In the final, you technically, mathematically, you could overcome that. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. I'm going to say it again, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody. I'm just giving you my real analysis. Look at the numbers at the bottom where I said precincts won. That you can't overcome. You can't overcome. You cannot overcome.
Because those same precinct that people voted,
the percentage is going to be the same.
It's going to be the same.
So,
and more people are going to go out and vote.
So the only way Manny can win this race, well, there's two things. Brian could do something monumentally stupid tomorrow and be involved in a scandal. Most likely not going to happen. It could, but it's probably not going to happen. The only other way Manny can win this race is if he goes out into South Lawrence, into the precincts that he won, knock every door and get the people who voted for him to bring their family out and increase the number in Mount Vernon by about 1,500 votes.
Yeah, but the amount of people there is not the same as the other precincts where he did win.
I agree.
All of North basically voted for Brian.
He lost every precinct in North Lawrence. He won 4 of the 8 precincts in South Lawrence.
You talking about Brian or Manny?
Manny.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Manny lost every precinct in North Lawrence. Yeah. He won 4 of the 8 precincts in South Lawrence.
Yeah, the population is way different from north to south, so there's more people.
So the only way he wins is if Brian screws up, or if he can somehow increase by about 1,500 votes the percentages in the final, because the numbers will change, but the percentages won't, right? Remember that I said this. In November, we're going to come in here and we're going to show you the numbers. We're going to do a side-by-side. And I'm going to play this clip of me saying the percentages are not going to change unless there's a scandal or unless Manny goes out and recruits new voters, new people who are not registered to vote, and increases by about 1,500 votes on top of what he's going to get for the additional people who vote in the final. And then Manny could win. Now, again, it's not over, obviously. Anything can happen. Yeah. I know that they're going to be talking about the mail-in ballots tomorrow night. And, here's the other thing that most people forget, and that's that Brian has Milagros Dominguez working for him. And
that woman is a force.
Let me tell you.
Her and her husband, and they're on the radio. They're the most popular radio show.
I know, but people like them on the radio, but they have been involved in election shenanigans going back before Willie Lantigua, going all the way back to Isabel Melendez. When I endorsed Isabel over Mike Sullivan, I was called a race traitor for about a year after that, because I thought Mike was going to be like his brother Kevin, and he turned out not to be any of that. Milagros Dominguez, she has a way of getting her candidates in trouble just by their affiliation with her. And it happens year after year. I was surprised. 4 years ago, I was surprised when Brian ran that she was one of his confidants. And I was like, listen, it's not that I don't like her. We've gotten along. I've had to write mean stories about her because they were true. But I grabbed Brian at one point and said, do you really want her to be like the face of the campaign? Like, when something goes wrong, it's usually her. And he was like, no, she's changed. And I said, okay, well, listen, if Brian thinks she's changed, people do change. Yeah. People change over the years. I'll give her a shot. And so far, I guess she's been okay. But it's one of those things you always have to keep in the back of your head. When you've got someone who's a loose cannon on your side, you always, like Julissa Nunez, she's like the anti-Julissa Nunez. She's Julissa Nunez on the other side, right? She's the same as Julissa Nunez, but she's on the other side. She's on the mayor's side instead of against the mayor. And I think I think it could be a problem. Now, I hope for Brian's sake it's not, but you never know that it could be.
She does have influence, though.
She does have influence. And by the way, she's not a bad person. Like, I like her as a person. Yeah. Like, I wrote a story about her. She got indicted and convicted of, I think it was identity theft in federal court. I happened to have one of my stringers, Janet Aldrich, was in the Moakley Federal Court building covering a trial. And she went out for a cigarette, and she saw Milagros go in with her lawyers, and she snapped a picture and sent it to me and said, hey, isn't this that woman you're always writing about? And I went, actually, it is. Can you go in the courtroom and see what's going on? And she went in, and she found out that Milagros was on trial and convicted. She might have even pled guilty to, I think it was identity theft. And we wrote the story. So if you were to Google Milagros Dominguez Valley Patriot, I'm positive that's going to come up.
Okay.
All right, real quick. Do we have any more? We have the school committee numbers. Didn't I send you that?
Yes, we do.
Let's just do real quick. This is my buddy Luis Robles.
Gotta find them now.
Robles. And there's another candidate in this race that I think, this is Jonathan Guzman. And by the way, I like Jonathan. He's the nicest kid in the world.
Me too.
He comes to my bash every year.
He is a nice guy.
It's hard.
I don't agree with him
politically. It's hard when you do what I do. One of the things that I hate about my job, I love most of what I do, but one of the things that I hate is, and Jonathan's a good example of this, you see a guy like Jonathan Guzman, who's one of the nicest effing people you're ever going to want to meet in your life. This is a guy that really cares about his community. He really cares about his neighborhood. He cares about kids. He works very hard to help the community do a lot of different things. He comes to my bash every year. He contributes to my bash every year. He's really just a decent person. And then you look at his politics and you get horrified. Right? Like, he supports every left-wing woke candidate that comes down I looked at the campaign. If you go to the Office of Campaign and Political Finance website for the state and you type in his name, he himself has not submitted a campaign finance report in a while. However,
who hasn't?
Jonathan. However, but he may not be raising money. So if you're not raising money, you don't have to do a report. But however, if you type in his name, all of his contributions to other people will come up. And you see city councils in Boston. You see city councils in Haverhill. You see city councils in Newburyport. And you know that this is just, Brian is just an arm of the Democrat Party pushing wokeness because he wants to move up the party, just like Franklin Miguel, just like Ella McLaren, right? So you've always got party politics involved at the local level, even though it's supposed to be nonpartisan. And so I'm saying this because I love Jonathan Guzman. If he called me tomorrow and said, Tom, my car broke down, can you come get me? I'm in Roxbury. I would, no matter what I was doing, no matter how bad I felt, even if I was in bed, I would get in I honestly, she's looking at me funny, but I'm not lying to you.
No, I know you're
I would get in my car and I would go to friggin' Roxbury and I would pick him up. If he was in Connecticut, I would go pick him up.
The things your brain comes up with, like on the spot.
But the reason that I would is because I know if I was stranded in Connecticut, I called Jonathan and said, Jonathan, I know we're not really that good of friends, but I've got nobody else. I really need someone to come get me. I know Jonathan would drop everything and he would come get me because that's the kind of person that he is. Yeah. So it pains me when election time comes and I can't support him because I love the guy to death, right? So here's the numbers, 3371. He hates Brian DePina. He's part of the hate brigade. Yeah. Nothing you say is going to change it. He's part of the woke faction of the Democrat Party. He believes in DEI. He believes in transgender, non-binary, flibbity-flu bathrooms. Jessica Ramirez, by the way, also is being recruited by the Democrat Party. You see her hitting the pavement, working very hard. She deserved those numbers. For sure, she deserved those numbers. She worked very hard.
She even brings her kids to campaign.
But she also has the support of Democrats outside the city. And that's when you should always be leery.
She's friends with Francisco Paulino.
Oh, is she? So maybe Francisco recruited her, maybe?
Maybe.
So you know that she's also probably a wokester. And then there's my buddy Luis Robles.
Yes.
And this is the reason why I want you to give him a vote. And if not just a vote, but a bullet vote. If you just voted for him, throw him an extra, like you're helping him out. And here's why. You've got Jonathan Guzman, who's a great guy. You've got Jessica Ramirez, who I'm sure is a nice person. I've never met her yet. But they're both woke.
They're both in the Democratic Party.
Right, and they both want
being run by
they
the state.
both want DEI. They both want diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want racism against white people while they're calling it not racist. They call themselves anti-fascist while they're supporting fascist policies. And they believe in the woke stuff. They believe in the transgender, non-binary, all this other stuff, pansexuals in the schools. And it's not just that they believe the politics of that, it's that they want it in the schools, and that's the problem. It shouldn't be in the schools. By the way, are the Lawrence schools teaching kids how to friggin' read? No, they're not.
So you're telling me they're like puppets of the Democrat Party, is that what you're saying?
I would say they are certainly on board with the Democrat Party platform.
Okay.
Right? And so I wouldn't necessarily use the word puppet yet.
But there are people like that. There's people who, let's say, with me to you. I admire you, so everything you say to me is like, yeah, that's the way. That's correct. Right. But there's people like that.
And then you got Quinn Gunnell. Now Quinn, I understand, I was told by one of my little spies, is friendly with Pavel.
Yes, he is.
So
I know Quinn. He's
so
a great
that
guy.
being the case, and I haven't met him, he seems like a nice guy. I've followed some of his stuff on Facebook. That being the case, I can only imagine that Pavel and no, he's not. He has. Pavel's not going to campaign for him.
Oh, he will campaign for him. I thought you were going to say like he's following Pavel's.
No, I was going to say that Pavel will do Pavel and Frank Moran and those guys. My spies are telling me that they're gearing up to do for Quinn what they did for Franklin, and to push him into the top 3. Okay. Because Luis Robles, we need one guy on that school committee
who's conservative,
who's going to get in and say, by the way, why are we teaching about sex when we can't even teach kids how to read?
Yeah.
Right? We're spending all of this time on pansexual, flibbity, non-binary
medication,
stuff,
hormones,
puberty blockers, sex change operations, teaching about abortion and gay marriage and all that other stuff, but they still can't friggin' read. We need one guy who's going to get in there and say, can we put aside the nonsense, look at the reading proficiency numbers, and find a way to make them better? Can we just do that? Yeah. And I know that of all the people running for school committee, all 4 of them, the one guy that's going to do that is going to be Luis Robles. Oh, yeah. He's going to be the one guy who's going to get in there, who's going to say, regardless of what you think about the rest of his politics, I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but I agree with him on this. If your job is to teach kids how to read, and you can't do that, why are we trusting you to teach them anything else? Why are we allowing us to spend time and resources and money on teaching anything other than reading proficiency, math proficiency?
Thank you.
Like so I pulled into Wendy's one day, and my order came to $10.25, and I gave the girl a $20 bill. And after she rang it up, I found a quarter. So I handed her the quarter, and she stood there and stared at the screen because she had already run it in, and she couldn't figure out that all she had to do was give me a 10. And so I gave her some grace, right? I'm trying to be a nice guy, and I let her like try to figure it out in her head. And finally she said, why don't you just keep that and let me give you your change? And if you just give me a 10. She thought I was trying to like fool her somehow. Yeah. So she called her manager over. So while we're waiting for the manager, I said, hey, are you going to school? And she said, no, I just graduated from Lawrence High School. You just graduated from Lawrence High School, and you can't do math in your head to know. So if it's $10.25 and I give you $20.25 that you just give me back a 10, that's not her fault. That's the failure of the school system. You went through 12 years of the Lawrence public schools, and you can't do friggin' math in your head to know that the 20.25 minus 10 is $10. It's like 20.25 minus 10 is $10. Like, seriously? And by the way, I get this all the time. You talk to these kids who just graduated Lawrence High School. They're nice kids. It's not their fault that they don't know that hate speech is not exempt from free speech. They think they've been taught in the Lawrence schools that the First Amendment protects free speech, but hate speech is not part of that. That hate speech, the First Amendment does not protect hate speech.
Well, whatever you interpret as hate.
Right. So whatever you feel is hate. I had a kid come on my page one day after an accident. I posted a picture of a kid, and I didn't know he was a kid because it was an accident and he was bloody, but someone took a picture, sent it to me. I posted online of a kid on Pelham Street in Methuen, and the kid was in bad shape, and I posted online and said, it's a really bad accident, stay away from Pelham Street. His friends came on. You have no permission from the family. Take that picture down. We're going to sue you. I said, do you go to school? Yeah, we just graduated Methuen High School. So you graduated Methuen High School. You think you could sue me for posting a picture that was taken in public of the public and then publicly post the public picture? Yeah, you need the parents. No, you went through the entire 12 years of Methuen schools and you don't know what your constitutional rights are. You don't know what the difference between public and privacy. You have privacy rights. Like, I can come in your house and record you, but I can go out in public and record you because you have no expectation of privacy in public. My point is, Lawrence and Methuen and most of the high schools today, most of the public schools today are not teaching kids the Constitution and what it really means and how it applies to their life. Yeah. And so you end up having arguments with people who are just uneducated, and it's not...
They have to learn through experience.
And it's not their fault. I don't fault these kids. I don't fault the girl at Wendy's. I don't fault the kids that were giving me crap on my page about the kid on Pelham Street. I fault the Methuen Public Schools and the Lawrence Public Schools for not adequately giving these kids the intellectual tools they need to go out into the real world and survive.
Yeah. I feel a little attacked because I went to the CGS. But before that, I went to private school.
Listen, I graduated Lawrence High. How many times do I say, wait, I got to count on my fingers? Because I know by virtue of going to Lawrence High, I got a substandard education than the kids at Central. I got a substandard education than my brother Danny.
I can tell you that. I've worked at parochial school, public school, charter school, and private.
You worked at Phillips Academy. Big difference.
Academy.
Big difference.
I worked at Phillips Academy Andover. I worked at the charter school in Lawrence. I worked at the Oliver School, and I also worked at Catholic schools. And let me tell you something. Lawrence is way below, like than any other schools.
Yep.
I would suggest a charter school or a Catholic school.
John Salvestano just sent me a screen capture of the show of my floating cup. Hilarious.
Well, let's see. What else did we leave? Anything else?
That should be it. I know that we talked a little bit about the Methuen stuff. We're going to talk more about it.
We should have someone from Methuen come.
We're going to have some Methuen candidates in. I may even do a debate in one of those races. I'll pick the race that's most important. I may do here's the thing. I really want to do the Central debate, but I don't want to sit here with Sharon Birchall.
She's not going to come.
Well, but that's the thing. I don't want to schedule a debate and have her not come because that's also not fair. So I have this cognitive dissonance going on.
Just do at large.
So at large there's too many candidates. That's the problem.
How many? There's six,
There's
right?
6, right? So I don't have room in this table for 6. Although I guess we could probably extend it.
We can do like a microphone, like a panel type.
I'm definitely going to schedule a mayoral race in Lawrence, a mayoral debate. If Brian chooses not to come, it's going to go to Manny again, even though I won't say, oh, you support Brian.
Or you can have Brian on the show.
If he comes. I don't know if he'll come.
Did you know that FCC regulates that?
Regulates what?
So if you treat one candidate a certain way, you have to treat the other one the same.
If you're on radio or TV, but not podcast.
Not podcast? Okay, no. That doesn't matter.
Because it's private.
Sorry. So let's say
I would do that anyway.
Someone, an example, like Altagracia Maggi, who charges for interviews. Like let's say she interviews for free.
Wait. Huh? She charges for interviews?
Yes, she charges for interviews on her radio show.
Wait. She charges for interviews?
Yep. Last time we found out, we reached out for some kind of interview and to bring
Listen, I like her, but you cannot call yourself a journalist if you're charging for interviews. Because if you're charging for interviews, why would you say anything negative about the person who's paying you for the interview? That's not being objective. To be a journalist, you have to be objective. Yeah. And if I was charging someone to come on this program, why would I say anything negative about them if they're paying to be here? See what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right, so go ahead. That threw me when you said that. I was like, what?
I lost my train of thought.
You said something about Altagracia. So
what she's supposed to, like, let's say she brings Manny and Brian wants to, come as well for free. She has to do the same. She can't change.
I think Brian's handling all of these things wrong. If I was Brian, I'd go on her show. And I'd pay her to go on her show. I would pay her to go on her show.
Tries.
And
I wouldn't doubt if he actually tries and she says no.
I'm going to ask him because I guarantee you, if he went on her show, she would not say to his face what she says behind his back. And it's one thing to disagree with a guy. It's another thing to impugn his integrity, call him dishonest, call him corrupt when he's sitting in front of you. It's one of the reasons why when I show up at political fundraisers, people run in the opposite direction because they've said all these things about me behind my back. And now they're going to face me. It's very easy when Tom stops going to political events and meetings for people to stop bad-mouthing him because he's not around, right? And that's with me or anybody, right? When someone's not around, it's a lot easier to demonize them and call them corrupt and call them dishonest when they're in front of you all the time. A little harder to do that. It's one of the reasons why you have all these cowards on social media, like Sarah Perez.
They call them Twitter thugs.
Right, who can go on social media and attack someone, but the minute they're one-on-one with you, all of a sudden it's a different story because they're cowards, right? And so I would, the next time I talk to Brian, hopefully I talk to him in the next couple of days, I'm going to say to him, pony up the money whatever she's charging for an interview, and go on her show and see if she will say to your face what she says behind your back. And here's why I say that. Did you see the pictures that were posted on Election Day?
Oh, yeah.
She's there,
it was our show that posted
right?
it.
She's hugging Brian. Now, on the one hand, he's corrupt. He's a criminal. He's dishonest. He's all of these things. And then when you see him, you're hugging him? Which one are we supposed to believe? Because if I believe Sharon Birchall is a criminal, which I do, and I believe that she is a horrible person, which I do, and then I see her, I'm not going to do a selfie with her. I don't even want to. In fact, I'm actually probably not going to do a debate in the Central District race in Methuen because she's in it. And I don't want to have a debate without her here because that's not fair to the voters. But I also don't want to I don't want to be in the same room with her because she's a piece of crap, right? She's my belief. You know how I feel, right? So why would Altagracia Machi be in a photo and yucking it up and slobbering over Brian? And when I raised this on Facebook, some of her friends came on and said, well, that's just politics. It's just politics. No, it's politics when you say the mayor's wrong about his budget. It's politics when you say the mayor's wrong for hiring William Castro. It's not politics when you call someone corrupt, when you attack their wife, when you attack their credibility, when you attack their family. That's not politics. That's personal.
That is personal. And you know what? She unfriended me because she posted something trying to insinuate that he was doing something corrupted. And I said, well, I don't think that's the case here. I don't think that's against the law. And I asked her, I said, do you have proof of what you're saying? And she was offended. She let it go. And then I did it again. I said, is there proof of what you're saying? And she didn't say anything, and she just unfriended me, so I blocked her. So she's really upset with me because she and I had a private discussion on Facebook, on direct messages, because I said she's not a journalist. And she said, well, I have a degree in journalism. That makes me a journalist. I said, well, I have 2 degrees in criminal justice. That doesn't make me a cop. And she said, yeah, but I'm a journalist. I said, no, if you were presenting stories objectively, you'd be a journalist. You're a lot of things, and you're very good at it. She's very good. She's an opinion maker. She's got an opinion show, and she's really good at it. By the way, I like her show. I agree with a lot of what she says. I know my friends hate that I say that out loud, but I love a lot of the things that she says, and she's not wrong about a lot of the things that she says, but it's not journalism just because you have a journalism degree. I do an opinion show, but I also take off my opinion hat when I write news stories for my newspaper, and I write straight non-opinion, fact-based news. I've got well over 12 journalism awards for writing journalistic stories. One of the awards that I got was for a story that I wrote about the Red Cross throwing people out of a shelter when there was a flood in Lawrence. There was a flood in Lawrence in 2006 or 7. There was one in 5, but I think it was the one after that, where the Red Cross put people up at Methuen High School, and then everybody who was there, all the people displaced, were under the impression that the Red Cross was finding them housing. So they were just hanging around for 3 days waiting for the Red Cross to find them housing. After 3 days, they said, okay, everybody out. They went, wait, what? So people called me. And I went down there with, at the time, Billy Manzi, the mayor of Methuen, and Mike Sullivan, the mayor of Lawrence, and Willie Lantigua, by the way, the state rep, and the 3 of us walked in with my cameras rolling, and all of a sudden they were denying it while we were looking at the sign to say everybody out by 3 o'clock, and they were literally denying it to our face. So I wrote a story about that, and that was the first journalism award I ever won. That was I think it was 2006. I've won about 12 since then. And it's not because of my opinions on this show. I have 2 hats. I have my opinions that I post on Facebook. But then I write legitimate, opinion-free news stories about the numbers in the election, about Joel Faretra moving out of Methuen. Those are Laurie Keegan.
Laurie Keegan. Well, that was a little bit of opinion. A little bit. But it was more to expose the fact that she was lying to her voters. That's the journalism side, right? And so,
but she's not objective because everything that Brian does is bad,
right? And
everything that Manny does is great.
If you could be the proof of objectivity is the difference between Stephanie Infante and Wendy Luzon. Stephanie says the mayor's right when she thinks he's right because she thinks he's right. Wendy never thinks the mayor's right because she hates him. So that's the difference. That's the difference is one can be objective, and you know that because you see the product of their work is Stephanie sometimes votes with the mayor and sometimes votes no. Wendy doesn't. Now, somebody on the council said to me the other day, that's not true, Tom. Wendy votes for a lot of things the mayor wants. That's deceptive. Yeah, she does on stop signs, right? On stupid things like handicap parking,
but let's say
one-way
the mayor
streets.
Wants to update a park, right? And
if it's important, she votes no.
Oh my God, there's broken swings in this park. The floor is almost non-existent. She will vote no just because it will make him look good.
We're on for 2 hours, so
we are. I think we're good.
Is it an hour and a half or 2 hours?
It's been 2 hours.
Is it 2 already? I thought we started late. All right. No. So let's end up the show. Great podcast, I thought, although, sometimes I watch it afterwards, and the ones I thought were great turned out to be horrible.
I think it's great.
And vice versa.
Congrats, Tom. Congratulations.
For what?
On just, everything you've said today and, analysis on
She's my biggest
elections.
fan.
I am your biggest fan.
She loves me. All right, let's take our sponsors. Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Tomo and Shaken Seafood. We're going to get to Shaken Seafood this week. The Zany Pesce Law Office, Marston and Son Construction, EIS Investigations and Gun Training, JG's Ice Cream, a free shout out to them, Clear Path for Veterans, New England, who, by the way, have offices in Lawrence on Parker Street now. AFC Urgent Care. Supposed to have lunch with Zaka last week, but something happened, so we're going to try and do it next week. Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office. Prime Insurance. Please call Prime Insurance. Who else do we have? 4 Star Lighting, Stadium Chiropractic, and our good buddy Paul Lambert at Lambert and Randone. And I promise my new friend, I'm having a brain fart, that we will have a new ad. Oh, the Valley Patriot's on the street. She's holding it up.
Yep. Pick up your Valley Patriot.
Valley Patriot's on the street. Is that the new one?
Yes.
I haven't even seen it yet. Well, Melvin Taylor says you got to go home. So go home already.